Because the questions are never hard.
Yeah, that's
Ali
all.
knows. Yeah.
You should have saw the next everything, man. It was
I like how you could skip the videos. Like the
I could skip
technology.
everything but the DEI video. It was so irritating.
Maybe because
It
it
was
was like
in-
added in afterwards.
If the question starts with "Is it okay to?" you can always answer no.
Yup.
It's always no.
Is it
Also-
okay to show up for work on time? With a big smile.
See, they never asked that. They never asked that.
Ollie, a question for you. You said before that if you're a Democrat voter, then you shouldn't have to take the DEI courses. What do you think now that the mayor of the only Muslim majority city in America has formally endorsed Donald Trump? Now it seems like Donald Trump is the
Who
pro-minority
endorsed
candidate.
Donald Trump?
The
Just
mayor
because
of the
he's
only
minority.
majority Muslim city in America.
Dearborn?
No, apparently Dearborn's not majority Muslim. It's some city called Hamtramck.
Hamtramck?
Is that Michigan?
Hamtramck, Michigan. Yeah.
Hamtramck, Michigan? I think people are insane. They don't know. Like I tell you guys all the time that like Arabs and Muslims would go conservative if just given the right conditions. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's weird because honestly, I think Trump's been on a weird fucking wreck on like kicking out protesters, and I think that's like he's been like really heavy on the ass kissing to Israel lately. Have no idea why. He's been like heavy duty like puckering
because he's getting paid. He's
well, I mean, sure, obviously. So, like,
APAC.
yeah. So like, I mean,
And
honestly,
Mira
right now,
Nielsen.
when like a mayor says something like that, I'm gonna assume he's getting paid too, right?
Yeah.
Like Arabs have traders too, dog. Like I'm not
you could
tripping.
also say
Oh,
that-
you're calling him a traitor to Arabs? That's
1000%.
a little bit.
Yeah,
That
I
kind
would
makes you
say
think
that-
of a
I would
specific
say that
term.
Mark Robinson, the
If
black
you're
Nazi.
supporting, listen,
He's not
if
a
you're
black
supporting
Nazi.
candidate
He was
right
horny.
now.
Oh,
If you're
yeah.
supporting a
himself
candidate
that.
right now, yeah, it's a little bit traitorous
Is
to your
what
people.
mean what he says when he's horny?
I
Yeah,
start
that's what
calling
that's what I
myself a
say,
Nazi
too.
No,
when
no,
I'm
that's what everyone says when they-
obviously.
Hey, lactoid.
Get a little bit randy,
Lactoid. How do you feel
That's
when
a
like
support
how do
right
you feel
there.
when like every politician
case, an
and like
African-American
literally
Nazi, but yeah.
every Zionist at this point, literally all they do is second place America. They have the best army. They have the smartest people. They have the best this. They have the like. How do you feel like that? Like is you're second place to Israel now? Like in conversations, whether it be like the powers of the
Ali.
world. Apparently Israel's protecting us.
No,
Like, that's what I'm like.
no, it's ridiculous. I stand with the mayor of Hamtramck.
Hamtramck.
There's no E after the M.
I know,
Hamtramck.
bro. It's
Okay.
Hamtramck.
Yeah. All right. Well, whatever. That dude. I stand with him. And I don't know. Support
If you
Muslims
can't
in America.
pronounce
Or
it,
Because
something.
you
Town,
support
you
a
can't
president.
stand
Because
with
you
it,
support
right?
a president who thinks another country is better than yours, which is
No,
insanity.
that's
Like,
not.
Yeah,
that's not
yeah.
true.
Dog,
Come on.
dog, every
You
politician
think
right
Trump
now
likes
out-
Israel more than America?
I don't.
They're
think
the ones
Trump
who are paying
likes
him, yeah,
either. I don't think he gives a
100%.
fuck, honestly.
No, he likes who
it's like
pays him.
whatever his
He likes who
election.
pays him, and he's getting paid from there. All politicians have been saying is that like they're our greatest ally.
Israel
They do
first.
jack for us. Every Zionist on earth, all they've been saying is they have the strongest and the best in the army. First of all, I thought we had the best and strongest army.
We do.
They're the number one nation, but no Zionist
We are.
Zionist agrees. And then your politicians keep siding with them and agreeing with, and to the point where some of them, it's not Israel that needs America. It's America that needs. I'll never forget that Nikki Haley said that.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
In my
that's
life,
so-
I will never in my life
wild.
forget that a fucking politician running for president said, "We don't need. Oh my god, that we need another country." And then look at the country we need.
And
Sorry, like the cucked. Our politicians cucked. They're all traitors because all just getting
Well, no, the world needs them. Haven't you read the Bible? Right? There's like a prophecy here that needs to be.
that they're not supposed to be on that fucking land. Oh, I guess the Christians.
It's like the
You know.
most like gross prophecy too, because it's basically like, hey Jews, do us a solid and get rid of that mosque so we can rebuild the Temple Mount so y'all can go to hell.
Yeah.
Which is the most anti-Semitic thing that if you want to go to. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel it feels weird when your politicians and our politicians like are just so heavily supporting other countries, and like to the point where it's honestly like I'm seeing them kneel down, and it's just strange that like a little bit of money makes people do this. I mean, I guess it's not strange. It just makes sense that some money makes people do this. But I don't know, man. I just
Wait, let me empathize with you a little bit. I agree.
No principles in voting for
I
these
always
people,
get.
man.
I know. Well, hold on. I always get weirded
Yeah.
out when people like kowtow and worship these other countries like Israel or Ukraine or etc. It's always kind of bizarre to me. I can understand. But I don't think that they're saying, "Oh,
in the U.S."
I don't think." I don't think that they're saying America's number 2. I think they're saying America's number 1, and all these little satellite states that are part of our, New World Order empire. They're like important to maintain our global hegemony.
It's not that Israel needs America; it's that America needs Israel.
Well, yeah. We need them. We need them because if they disappear, like there goes
but it's not that they
investment
need
in
us. It's
geopolitical power.
that we need them. We need them for geopolitical power. We need Israel
In the Middle East, they're pretty useful, right? They got Mossad. Hey, Mossad
Do
warned
we
us by 9/11 a week before, and we didn't do shit about it.
Yeah, and we
so,
didn't do shit. Do we need?
I know that's kind of
Do
proof
we
that they're
need
better on that front.
Do we need them, or do they need us? Like
I mean,
they need
frankly,
us to
we don't need
defend
any
all
other
their
country.
shit.
I mean,
but according to your politicians, they're going over. They're putting their heads.
according to
You have
Nikki
Christians- you have
Haley,
Christians going and putting their heads on walls. Why? Why are Christians going to?
I don't do
and putting
this.
their heads on-
I don't know.
Well,
Look,
I mean,
I'm supporting the
you
guy that
don't
was
know.
endorsed by the Muslim mayor. I don't know about you.
I mean, yeah, I know. I don't give a fuck. But listen, bro, Muslims
You
are
don't give a fuck
traitors.
about Muslim
People-
mayor. Oh my
give a fuck
god!
about Muslim
support
mayors.
everyone's
Traitors,
right to
people.
be stupid,
Guy, you
even
think
minorities.
I am a Muslim, right?
I would never
defend my
question a
people.
Muslim's lived
I defend my,
experience.
no. I defend my people against slander, but I do not give a fuck about what they do in terms of like politics. I don't listen to these people. I have my own opinions on shit. Thank you very much. I don't give a fuck what a mayor says. Because there's some money down the line. Somewhere down the line, there's money. There's always money. There's always money.
You think he's being funded? Who do you think he's being funded by? Come on.
Republican Party
Israel.
paid him somewhere down the line.
No.
Yeah.
Trump.
So these
Trump
are
is not looking
ridiculous
good to
allegations.
Muslims. Trump like 6 months ago looked great to Muslims. The past 3 months have been treacherous for politics, in terms of just the Muslim vote, which is like not really all that significant. But like in terms of the Muslim vote,
America's not moving. America's not moving on Israel. Just to be clear, but like both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are like super pro. Now, the one candidate that has done the most, and I sent this to Prime the other day, the one candidate that's actually been like pretty harsh on Israel, Chase Oliver, the Libertarian candidate. I think that if you guys, you should look it up.
He'll never win because he's
not going to win. But if you care about like the principled vote, I thought we had a conversation about this or something. You guys should.
The principled vote doesn't exist in America, really. Like you just vote. You vote with whatever interests you. You pick one or two things. You go with those.
Prime doesn't agree with you on that.
I mean, he can, but like I don't like it. Listen, man, I've lived here many years. I've lived here my entire life. Yeah, I've never seen anyone like. Every shit talking point I hear about the Republicans is true coming from the Democrats, and everything the Republicans say about the Democrats is also true. Like everything is true. That's the fucking issue. The issue is all the shit you guys are. Huh?
The dogs thing might not be true, but we'll see. We'll see what the evidence.
I'm saying about the party. I'm saying about like from party to party, right? So it's like as someone who literally just sits here and goes, huh. Both these people are just idiots, and both these parties are just like fucking worthless at this point. Yeah, I just see our country being cucked out heavy, and it's sad. I'm not gonna lie, it's really sad. As an Arab American born here, this country has been so pussified.
That's why the Muslim mayors support. Like, look, Kamala Harris is supporting gender transition surgeries for inmates.
Anyone supporting Trump, the only like slack I can give is if someone's like, well, I'm just gonna vote Republican because I've always voted Republican. The Republican holds my interest. I get it, but you gotta admit at some fucking point that these politicians that you're voting to run your country for 4 years are the absolute worst of the worst, and you should take a stance at a certain point and honestly have some respect for your fucking countrymen. Have some respect. Bring some respect back to this bitch, because we are fucked. We are fucked. None of us agree on anything. Our politicians are literally just.
We agree on Israel.
Do you think it's possible to get rid of parties? Like, do you
Hmm?
think there's ever a world where we would have like no parties and people just ran,
No,
or would the parties just
we're always
eventually
gonna vote for
form
shit.
eventually
We're always gonna disagree and
again?
vote on shit, but if Americans would stop being so pathetic, we'd actually have the politicians that we want and we admire
happened
and we,
instantly.
I
we
don't know what-
deserve.
We would
But
have
we're
to
just
get rid of
pathetic
being
at
first
this
pathetic.
past
point.
the post. We would
We're
have to get rid
pathetic
of
at this
first
point,
past the
man.
post.
I don't know what not being pathetic means in this context, but like to answer your question, Ghosty,
Having some character.
like parties serve an important purpose in that like it lets people, because people don't follow politics close enough, right, to like understand what each individual politician is, even for people like us who
Isn't
like,
that the problem though?
well, that won't be solved. There's no way that's like the
You're never gonna be able to inform everyone.
yeah, that's not going to solve it. I don't see a world where most people pay attention to politics close enough to understand the whole ticket, right? And I think even for people who do pay attention, that doesn't mean they may pay attention to the national level, maybe their state level, but do they know all the positions of the people in their local level? Like, there's no way. It's very, very, very difficult to follow all of this, right? And parties give you a simple way of like grouping these people. Like, okay, they should generally have like a number of
These
positions that I
principles.
agree with, that I align with, and that's like parties are a shortcut for validation of these individuals. So it
Most
Well, I
people are
think
like
that's
one position voters anyways.
True, but I think the problem is in our particular country, it's a two-party system, right? And
Yeah.
two-party is very different than having multiple parties, right? So you can't avoid
Agreed.
parties. I agree for the very reason that you're talking about. But if you're in a system where there are like 5, 6, 7 like major parties that all have significant representation in the Congress, and you can find the party that aligns with your ideas 80% of the time or whatever it is, then the compromises that get made in passing legislation become among the parties. And so that party might, the party that might have power in one particular issue might not in another particular issue, and they're just constantly realigning on the basis of votes. And I think they represent the people better doing it that way than the way we do it with two parties. And I think Katya mentioned, getting rid of first past the post. That would get us a long way towards making more than two parties viable in the United States.
A whole big thing about this on Thursday, about like ranked choice voting. But yeah,
Right.
But I agree.
Yeah.
With that.
It's just sad, man. It's really like the 90s seems like such a golden era, and that's because like I grew up and it seemed like the perfect time. Like as a kid growing up, that seems
Yeah.
like
Obviously,
this is what
As
is
a
called
kid.
Hold
nostalgia,
up.
right? This
Yes,
is literally
I understand.
textbook
Listen,
definition.
that's why I said it's crazy. But
crack
okay,
epidemic?
Well, it
Lactoid.
was also the
As
dot-com
people who
boom,
pay
we
attention to
balanced the
politics, as people who
budget,
pay
like, there's a
attention to
lot of-
politics, and then Iko, Rich, you're here. What do you think was the best presidential race? Like an actual race where you felt confident in both the candidates, and honestly, you felt like both held character and they held true to their character after winning presidency.
2008.
ICO is probably the better, because I wasn't voting in 2008.
Like I said, I'm just I asked whoever you guys look into it, like I'm sure you guys know history. Who do you think? Just like you said,
I felt
2008.
the best about 2008, right? I felt there were two men I could respect. Both of them held to, like they had their own principles and they had different sets of principles, but they were McCain had that sort of magical moment where you started to see a preview of the Trump years where that old lady called him an Arab, said that he was an Arab. And then McCain sort of like defended him to her and said, no, we're not going to.
All he said he's
not
not
gonna
an
do that.
Arab, meaning like,
And then he
it's fine.
lost.
It's fine,
He's a fine
that
fellow.
you're saying Arabs are bad, but don't worry, lady. He's not a damn Arab.
Yeah, I
that's
mean, he
the-
had to skip
Did
a
he
couple
say
steps
that?
there, right? But she was obviously implying that being an Arab is somehow un-American.
Yeah, and
And
all he
that's
said
what he
was
was
that he's not an
responding
Arab. Not that Arabs are like fine.
But he also said he's a
Muslim
fine man who
nation.
loves his,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
So meaning he's not an Arab. Yeah, like he's not an Arab. He respects
They're
his
mutually exclusive. Can't be a fine man and an Arab.
To be fair to Icon, he's like you got to compare it to like Kamala versus Trump at this point, right? Like that's a pretty fucking civil and character.
Trump would never have
comparison.
done that.
Well,
Yeah.
hold on, stop. Let's not rewrite history. Hold on, let's knock this.
Well, it's not a rewrite. I'm
right?
asking him
No,
who he
hold on.
felt was like.
I know, but we're rewriting history there. We're saying like, oh, it's so different from today. Well, that was the election with what's her face as vice president?
Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin, thank you.
The Tea Party
It was a
shit.
big mistake.
Yeah, like that was like Sarah Palin was vicious, right? She was vicious. She was just the attack dog for John McCain, where you could pretend that he was stately, some sort of statesman. But John McCain did pick her as his vice presidential candidate. He did like co-sign everything except for like rampant stupidity. I'm sure he didn't co-sign that part at the very least. But like to. And
he also didn't really understand her ideology, and like I remember at the very beginning, there was a lot of like reports from inside the campaign that he was being pressured to in that direction, and he liked the fact that she was a woman, like coming from like a small sort of rural state, but he didn't really fully understand. And this was not an excuse for him. This like shows you how one aspect of his campaign was very incompetent, but the fact that he didn't understand who it was he was nominating for his own vice president, didn't vet her, didn't have enough time to vet her, but there were plenty of other people who had been vetted that he could have chosen from, and he didn't, and that was like a big mistake from him. But it wasn't because he had a philosophical agreement with her, like he absolutely did not.
Yeah,
and he regretted that choice pretty much instantly.
Yeah, but he did pick her. And he didn't push back against the things that she was saying, right? Like she would go on, and she had all these attack lines. She was fine with like so he has that moment with the woman that Echo describes, right? Where he says, "Well, no, ma'am, he's not an Arab. He's a good father or something, whatever, right?"
Right.
But then at the same time, at another rally, probably at like literally at the same moment, there's Sarah Palin calling him a Kenyan, right? Not a real American to begin with. That's what was the 2008 race. So let's I'm saying, let's not rewrite history here. Like this was extremely vicious at the same time. Once again, Lactoid gets it right with the nostalgia comic. All right, like it's been so long that we don't understand. We don't feel the vitriol that was there at the time, but there was plenty of it.
Nostalgia for when I was merely 40.
The crime rates in the 90s, by the way, were also off the fucking charts. Like, it was a bad time.
You have the
I mean, that's when I was.
epidemic.
That's just when I was alive, and just it's once again.
But the best TV show, so it balances out.
Yeah.
Right, the best TV shows. It seemed like it was a good time. Everyone
They
seemed
had
happy, man.
better.
Yeah, like none of us worked. We all went to
Better
school. We
commercials.
all hung. Like it was great.
No,
yeah.
it felt as though everyone worked. It felt like everyone had, like, everyone's parents had a job. It seemed back then
The
things were
economy
a
was
little
doing
cheaper,
okay.
so on and so forth. Like things seemed like they were doing a little bit better, right? Just the feeling in the
Dude,
air.
I picked an election that none of y'all remember, like 76, like Ford versus Carter. There we go. None of you can say anything bad about that.
No, honestly, like I was expecting you to go a little bit farther back, and like I thought that was going to be like a really good.
Yeah,
point,
I
but,
go back to Lincoln versus whoever the fuck you ran against. That one.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, it just seems politics just seems.
I'm glad
fucking
you didn't make
insane.
the normal mistake and say Lincoln versus Douglas, because that was a Senate race, not a presidential one.
No, but Lincoln ran against two people, right? It was a split race. There was two two people.
There
running
was a
on
third
the-
party, yeah.
Well, yeah, but it was
He was the
basically
third
split up the Democrats. Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys just seem more like influencers than they do politicians nowadays. It's that's really all it is what I'm saying is like
Always been true though. I
Raise the
mean,
voting
I'm
age.
alive, but I feel like that's always kind of been. I feel like presidents have always kind of been like mascots, basically, and like not much more. But
yeah, but they used to play the role better. like they used to listen.
Back in
I'm
my
not
day,
saying they were
like-
good people. I'm not saying they were good people, but like just play the role a little better at least.
No, hold on. No.
You don't
now
think so?
people hate it.
I
Now
got-
people
no.
hate the presidential role playing.
Wait, so, guys, let's, please, help me here. Like, you're saying they played the role better, right? And I guess by that, which means like there was a tad bit more civility, right? They were still vicious, right? Like they were vicious to Bill Clinton during his administration, right?
They were still getting shot.
Well, I
They,
guess I'm
like,
thinking about
they
the
were
Democrats,
saying
Prime.
he
The
committed
Democrats were amazing.
murder.
The Democrats
They
are
were
amazing.
saying
Democratic
in
presidents.
the 90s, and the decade that you venerate, they were saying that, oh yeah, he killed a guy. He had a conspiracy. Also the Whitewater thing.
I feel like the Democrats have been pretty chill. The Democrats have been
He
chill.
like that.
No,
JFK,
the Clintons
Clinton,
killed
these
a
have been pretty
guy.
cool dudes, you know?
Sorry.
Have you guys ever heard of the black helicopters?
No.
That was a talking point throughout the night. Just listen to AM radio and you're going to hear it. If we'd had social
Radio.
media back then, it would have been broken out more.
AM?
But yeah, the idea was that wherever there were these enemies of the Clintons, black helicopters would arrive and just murder everybody in the scene. There were no witnesses, of course, and then they would just take off. That was a real theory on AM radio that you heard all the time among the Republicans.
Yeah, a moment of civility in America, the 90s. Like, what the hell are you talking about? But you're saying they played the role better.
Gingrich was famous for making our politics more coarse in the 90s.
I think most people would say the 80s.
It's either no politicians were worth a damn and hold true to character, so why the fuck are we even acting like we care about these people and these politics and these policies?
You're saying hold true to character, but what does that actually mean? If there's still
Be the person
same
you
old
voted
corruption. But hold on. In the 90s, Bill Clinton was corrupt. They were taking campaign donations. It was maybe less bad because the Supreme Court, the conservative Supreme Court hadn't opened the floodgates yet. But still, they were taking money.
McCain was a big part of the reason why those floodgates were closed.
So then fuck it, idiocracy. Let Terry Crews run the country and let's just give the plants electrolytes. That's what they need.
I'm not saying that either. Wait a minute, hold on. You don't have to do that either. But I'm just saying, you can just recognize what it is, and I'm saying don't use any rose-tinted glasses one way or the other. Right? Let's have an accurate view of reality. So these presidential politicians, you guys are saying, well, they liked them better back then. No, they didn't, right? Especially with Rush Limbaugh, and the vitriol and the hate that was happening there, for one side and the other, that. This has always been true, right? And there was the point, where this country started murdering each other because we couldn't, agree, right? People always think that the politics of this moment is always especially vitriolic or especially poisonous. It's just the one because you're experiencing this moment at the present. But before, in the decade before, it was bad. The decade before that, it was bad. And others, that doesn't mean it doesn't get slightly worse or slightly better. Fair enough.
Yeah, just which way was worse?
But
I
I'm
think
saying
during Vietnam and everything.
Worse in the way that you're
But
thinking.
my point was what was I asked who was the two that you felt at the time. So it's obviously.
So which one would you pick, Prime? What was the one?
Yeah, what
that was less vitriolic than the rest?
Was there ever? And it's that's kind of the following question is if it was never as vitriolic or it was always as vitriolic, then it doesn't fucking matter and. Fuck it, let's just keep playing the circus that we are.
Only we elected Bob Dole, we'd be
Probably
golden.
during George Washington when they had to come up with
That's
term
one
limits.
who's actually not bad.
Maybe I don't know. Did George Washington run against? Did he actually run against anyone?
Because
he didn't
at a certain point
run
we
against
can't
anybody.
talk shit.
Yeah,
we
that's
can't talk shit
why.
about Trump and Kamala if there isn't
He ran against the British.
a standard to hold them to, right? If you just think
vitriol there.
if you think everyone has been shitty and everyone's been whatever, then you
Well,
can't hold anyone to there's no
you're right. You're
standard.
right. Ultimately, my party is not represented on the national stage, really. So you're not going to find a candidate that I'm going to find perfect or even really find good, right? So any kind of engagement on national.
Well, then why
politics for me
show
is-
for another candidate just for the sake of?
Because
vote whatever you want to vote,
there is a
why
concept of
advertise for them.
because there's a concept of less bad, and unfortunately, in this country, everybody has the equal vote, which doesn't make any sense. And so the only way to have more of an influence is to speak up and to actually.
Then you do see that okay, so coming from my side, and this is it's tough. So you don't even really support Trump. You just have to because it's that's the only fucking choice you have. So it's which to me is fine, go ahead and do that. Go vote go vote your principles, your conscience. But the fact that you that anyone defends him or to this anyone who defended Kamala, I don't think there's a defense of her really either. To anyone who was out here advertising for these people, it feels weird. It feels insane and honestly, I don't even believe it. I've never believed it. This insane push for Trump, it just seems like you just want to be part of a sports team and you just want to win the goal. That's all it is. You want to argue with someone. And then same from the other side. It doesn't seem like anyone fucking cares about the politics anymore. Because
It
like
kinda
you
seems
can't
like-
care about the politics because no one's representing like anyone's fucking actual opinion.
It
No,
kind
no,
of
no.
seems like
It is
we're
a
voting
campaign
for.
of joy.
It seems like we're voting for like who we don't want. So
That-
like we're
yeah, you're
voting
voting
for the
against.
person because we don't want the other person. It's like we're not voting for somebody we like. We're voting against somebody.
Which is
And I think that's
fucking
the same on both sides right
insane
now.
Party
to do,
system.
man. That's insane. That's the you we're not like we both lose at that rate, right? And so that's why I get really annoyed when everyone's like pro Trump or pro. It's like, guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? Just like take a second, breathe. Let's pull back. If we stop cheering these people on so much, they'll stop maybe feeling so fucking inflated. Like, let's make the president just like a boring. It's a job.
No, there are
It's a
interests
job.
there are interests at play beyond just us here, right?
Yeah, I know.
There are
recognize
systems. There are systems invested in this
So
that are
get
much
duped.
larger than ourselves. And
So
I
get
mean,
duped.
it's not about getting duped. It's just like
Brother, it's duped when APAC just picks your fucking president, or the APAC just picks your fucking congressman, or APAC. It's fucking, you're getting duped, man. When you could just pay into whoever the fuck you want to be running this shit, you're getting duped.
I'm not that wealthy yet, so I have to advocate for my candidates on different ways. For different,
I don't want to tax the rich because one day I want to be one of them. Meanwhile, you're in a country that doesn't want
it's
you to
happening.
be rich.
Don't worry.
Yeah, you're a lawyer, brother. Like you're gonna be as rich as like the average lawyer, you know? Like you can own a firm.
That's not
where
actually all that much rich anymore.
You're never gonna be political influence rich. You get what I'm saying? This is like hundreds of years in the making, thousands of years.
I feel like all you're like in real time, like fully like you're learning and appreciating. Wow, the American political system kind of fucked, and like it's just dawning on you.
No.
Like,
I've always known this, so I never fucking cared about politics. Then I started caring about politics a little bit. I was like, all right, maybe let's see what's
you're back
all
to not
this about.
caring.
And then it's just like, fuck.
It's like that one the IQ bell curve meme where it's like the really dumb ones, they don't care about politics. Like the midwits are like, I love politics, and then the really smart ones, they don't care about politics.
It's just fuck it, man. I'm like, my vote matters as much as it matters. I've seen both parties run it doesn't really change much individually, right? I mean, they keep saying shit. I just keep dodging it, so it doesn't really like. It's bad. It's bad. I'm honestly, I'm just sad at the state of like people.
That's what coalition building is about, right? It's not if you go out and vote, your one vote isn't going to make much of a difference, right? But if you're part of a coalition that sort of pools its votes together, like that's what endorsements are about quite often. It's about there's some group of people. If you get their endorsement, that group sort of comes together and votes a particular way based on that group's endorsement, whatever it is. And that's where the power is real, that kind of organizing.
Yeah, but the people running are dorks, and I don't like them. Like they're not even cool. Like they're not even cool people. Like they're not even good people.
So why is that?
I like this theory of politics.
They're not smart. They're fucking losers, and it's just
so Ali, in your case, what you
they
should
don't get any puss. Yeah,
is
absolutely.
Instead of getting behind a particular candidate, you can get behind an idea, right? So back to Katya's point, like ending rank or going to ranked choice voting would be something that, if you could accomplish it, would allow you to vote for somebody who you prefer over the two main candidates and still not waste your vote, right? If we can get to that point in politics, that very often people will go. I know people who are on the left who are kind of like Prime, who are disappointed in Kamala, but they still are going to vote, mainly because there's a referendum in their state that they want to vote for, or something like that, right? Like they're voting for issues and not for candidates. And I think the big issue, if you're trying to get away from this kind of two candidate choice where you don't like either candidate, is going to be to push for either something like ranked choice voting, or there are better things than ranked choice voting that would make things better. But in this country, ranked choice voting is the one that has the most realistic chance of passing. Something like that, if you devoted decades to it, because that's how long it's going to take, we can eventually get to a world where we can actually start picking candidates we don't hate.
Now, you got to convince a lot of people to come, just like to
Well, it's happened.
some middle ground.
We've already got it in 3 states, and in a lot of major cities too. So it's not like
would have to be through coalition building between like a lot of third parties and people who are disaffected with the current two choices. I feel like if everybody was kind of like, man, I'm kind of sick of this, got together on both sides of the aisle, that'd be the only way that could ever happen.
Yep.
Katya, are you Ukrainian? Just out of curiosity.
By like heritage, by like
By blood?
actually I was born here, yeah. But like by here I was always in the US.
But you're Ukrainian because we're still hyphenated Americans even though we're born here. We still get the little hyphen beforehand. Like I'm still Arab American at the end of the fucking day.
Yeah, I just read a weird headline that said the Polish American community in Pennsylvania has just endorsed Kamala. Now, I don't know how anyone can claim to represent the Polish American community. Like, that sounds really sus to me. But yeah, I mean, it seems like apparently that makes a difference and it moves the needle there. I would imagine if you are Polish American, you care a lot about the Ukraine war for obvious reasons.
It's just the largest Facebook.
Wait.
calls
Isn't
themselves-
Trump German? Because that could explain it, right?
Yeah, probably. I think they're over World War II at this point.
I think we're in the current conflict.
Would I be?
so-
I don't know if I would be.
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Israel is-
I mean,
and
Hitler threatened him 80 years
so-
ago. Who's threatening him now, or who's been threatening him since then? There was this little thing called the Russian occupation of Poland and the Iron Curtain, and they didn't have a good time.
Well, I mean, in Potsdam, they gave him a bunch of German land, so kind of made up for it.
Yeah, sure.
Really? Oh wow, that's
They
interesting.
got
I
their
didn't
own
know that.
lands.
Oh, you should look up there was
There's consequence of losing a world war.
yeah, it was a widespread ethnic cleansing, equivalent. Really, it's equivalent to the Nakba when you think about it. What happened to Germany
Mhm.
post World War II?
Yeah, I agree
The
with that.
Soviets came in. They literally forced all the ethnic Germans out of places like East Prussia and along
Yeah.
I forget what river it is, but
Oh no,
I mean,
I thought you meant in
Yeah.
America. That's what I thought you were saying, that they were like Polish people in America were given German land. Because I know, like for instance, we rounded up Germans just like we did with the Japanese in internment camp. So I thought you were implying that the Polish got their land here in the States.
no, we did with the
Okay.
Japanese. I don't think we did to really any meaningful scale with the German Americans here, just because there's so many of them.
We saw them as white,
but
and
Yeah, we saw them all. We also saw them as
everyone
white.
else.
But I'm talking about like post World War II when the Soviets were sweeping in. They pushed the Germans out of what is modern day Poland, a lot of territory in modern day Poland, and now it's Polish, even though it was German, ethnically German. Not to say the Germans were the good guys. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. Look, I'm not fucking
No, I
Mike
agree. That's why I
Lindell
said
with
the
his specific
consequences-
pillow
No,
pricing.
You're
Okay,
not. No.
Oh
What you meant
God,
to say
that
is
was
that you're
crazy.
not.
that was
you're not-
hilarious. I
was
laughed.
dying.
I laughed for like probably 3 minutes when I was just going through the comments. Like, we must secure a comfy future for her.
What you
just
what
like,
you
how
meant to
did this-
say is that you're not Mark Robinson, the black Nazi that you think is it's just okay, right?
He's just horny.
He was
so-
jerking off, dude.
He was
Look,
jerking off, and that's what you do.
Prime,
That's what
Prime,
you
Just
do.
for
yes,
porn.
Prime. It was a porn forum. Of course, like people who are, first of all, you can say, I don't want to vote for this guy because he leaves comments on porn forums. Fair. Okay, I'm with you there. But the idea that like anybody's going to be typing hinged comments on a porn website is laughable. Of course he's going to be saying. He said he's into transgender porn.
Wait a minute.
He called himself a black Nazi.
Oh, first of all, okay, so ignore that. Fine, no problem. Like, just talk about his comments that he made in public, the ones that we have video of him saying, right? Like that we should kill our political enemies, right? Like those types of things.
I did. Whoa.
Oh, you
First of
didn't
all,
know
I
about
didn't.
that?
I didn't know about that. I didn't see that. But is he getting heat for that, or is he getting heat because he said he likes to jerk off to transgender pornography?
No, he's not getting heat for the first stuff because like the Republicans
Because,
like,
yeah, because Americans don't care.
Yes, because of course they don't care about the
Yeah,
Nazis
look,
either.
if there's other criticisms of this guy, I'm agnostic. I haven't heard of them. If you show them and they're good criticisms, then I could probably get on board with the
Oh,
criticisms.
the list is long.
But as to the porn website specifically, I don't care if somebody's making edgy comments on a porn forum. I just don't. It's hilarious. It's weird, fair. And if you want to, look, if you want to say, I don't want to vote for somebody who is the type of person to create a account on a porn website and leave comments, reasonable, fair, okay? But come on, it was clear he was clearly being hyperbolic and incendiary.
So it's time to start reading quotes from Hitler style. And Robinson told an audience gathered at Mom's Liberty. This is not the porn site. Though that Mom's Liberty.
That could be a porn website.
That'd be a fun porn site. Yeah. Blessing of the
Mills for Liberty.
Yeah. And in July last year, that instead of criticizing conservative group for quoting Hitler in their June newsletter, it's time to start reading quotes from fascist strongmen like Hitler and Stalin. Quote, whether you're talking about Adolf Hitler, whether you're talking about Chairman Mao, whether you're talking about Stalin, whether you're talking about Pol Pot, whether you're talking about Castro in Cuba, whether you're talking about a dozen other despots all around the globe, it is time for us to get back and start reading some of those quotes, he said. Once
You
a
listed
woman,
communist leaders. Most of those are communists.
once a woman, whatever. Once a woman is pregnant,
Yeah,
it's
just
not her
like-
body anymore. Despite later confessing that he and his wife had an abortion early in the relationship, Robinson said in 2021 that once a woman is pregnant, it's not her body anymore. He also
The fetus, yeah.
disagreed with exceptions for rape and incest and abortion bans. Well, of course, you wouldn't mind this part. Implying
That's
that
pretty
victims,
that's pretty
of
edgy,
assault
but you could be consistent.
deserved he said he also disagreed with exceptions for rape and incest and abortion bans, implying that victims of assault deserve what happened to them under Charles Darwin's survival of the fittest evolutionary theory. Quote, what that argument reminds me of? It reminds me of the argument about seatbelts, he told East Carolinian. Quote, I can always remember there would be one person who would say, what if I get stuck on the railroad tracks and my seatbelt won't come off? Number one, if you are stuck on the train tracks, that is Darwin. That's not my concern. That is Darwin. I cannot help you. He's doing this in reference to talking about pregnancy. Transgender homosexuality, any of that filth he's talking about. Yeah, homosexuality he considers to be filth. And quote, and yes, I called it filth. He doubled down. And if you don't like it, that I called it filth, come see me and I'll explain it to you.
He could probably explain in very vivid detail.
Calling
Yes,
LGBTQ plus people maggots and flies. But again, she says, I don't care how much you cut yourself up, drug yourself up, and dress yourself up. You're still either one of these two things. You're either a man or a woman. Oh, sorry. The other thing was like, oh yeah. So the quote was, he called LGBTQ people what cows leave behind, as well as maggots and flies. Okay, that was same thing. Black Panther was made by an agnostic Jew and satanic Marxist. Michelle Obama is secretly a transgender woman. Black Democrats are slaves. Homosexuality will lead to collapse of society, but that's like a regular thing the Republicans say. Homosexuality. Okay, that's you won't even.
Black people were better off under Jim Crow. He said that.
Yeah.
Look. I'll have to read these things. But again, why is none of this coming up? Why do the
Jewish bankers are a horseman of the apocalypse?
He said that disarming millions of Jews and then taking them to concentration camps was a bunch of hogwash, and used and in a post.
No, he must.
Is it
He talked
CNN?
about 6 million Jews as 6 million Jews.
Yeah,
implying that it's like not true.
Katja, he must have been horny when he said that. I mean, that's what you do, right?
So the harder you get, the more Holocaust denial you partake in. That's perfect linear relationship.
I mean, to be fair here, he seems to be horny like fucking always. What the hell, man?
Shortly after calling the Holocaust "quote unquote" hogwash, Robinson went out on the podcast of an alleged cult leader in 2019 and endorsed the host's remarks that Jewish bankers are one of the "quote unquote" 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The other 3, Muslim people, China, and the CIA.
They always come for us
Robinson
next.
said,
They're always
"That's exactly right." Robinson told the host, "It's amazing to me that we live in this age of information where you can go online, you can find all this information that's not hidden from anybody." Agreeing with those comments. He thought the moon landing is fake. Beyonce music has a satanic message. Sure, maybe that's true. Don't have sex unless you're making a baby. Some folks need killing. Yeah, this is just you're not gonna care about this one either, so I'm not even bother reading that one. I guess he's calling people the F slur for gay people here. But the crazy of all, Robinson stands by everything he says. Yeah, he just stands by everything he said. The craziest thing is that he stands by everything he says. So like I know it's just like the initial like from a cursory Google search. So you could find more of these things. Like,
Well, look,
I have to tell you.
like I said, I'll have to fact
And I'm
check
sure
this.
you will.
I'll
I'm
have to
sure
go
you will.
through. But just to be clear, I specifically said I don't give that much of a fuck about porn website comments. And I also think it's interesting
I
how
wasn't talking about those. None
apparently
of those are porn comments.
I understand, but the beginning that's what I said because currently this guy's only in the media because they found some comments he left on Nude Africa, a porn website, right? Like that's why he's in the news.
Well, okay. For the reason for
You
that,
looked
though,
up-
to be fair, is that Republicans don't give a shit about those other kinds of comments because they kind of agree with them, but they do care about the fact that he watched transgender porn. They think that's degenerate.
The moon landing
It's
is
gonna be-
fake. Look, I'll have to look again. If he said that, if he actually means the moon landing is fake, I don't think most Republicans think that.
I mean,
This should have been common discussion
Like,
beforehand.
That's
right,
not
but
a
at least
deal
they might
breaker
not
for most
care, because, like, I mean, most Republicans don't care about, like, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene and her, like, Jewish space lasers and all the other freaking psycho nutso shit she says.
Right.
Like, they just look past that. So, also, I did send the screenshot in the thing in the chat about the 6 million Jews comment that he made here. So if anybody wanted to read that. And I mean, if you look up Mark Robinson anti-Semitic comments and go on like news or whatever, you will find a lot of articles from, you know, a year or two ago. They're not all from right now talking about the porno stuff. Like there was some buzz when people found the anti-Semitic comments. It's just like people have kind of forgotten about that by now.
It's almost like they just say the most wild shit ever so that Republicans can just say anything and it doesn't seem that bad anymore because, you know, they're talking about space lasers and
Inoculation.
fucking whatever else.
Scene.
And
all
so
that.
Lactoid, do you also
Listen.
think that Mark Robinson was being horny on Facebook when he's apparently quoting Hitler on his Facebook? Is he horny there?
Wait, how do you quote Hitler?
I will share. It's a story.
Okay, post it. Again, I'll have to look into this. I'm already looking at this thing, and I do think that the only problem with this is the fact that 6 million Jews is in quotes. That's a little bit of a problem. I agree. If the quotes weren't there, yeah, I think that there is a concern. Why isn't the deaths of communism talked about more? I think it's
Well, if they're
He's
using
comparing
those
it to
numbers,
communism.
they probably shouldn't. Those numbers are not substantiated.
Yeah, the time that he called school shooting survivors media prostitutes. I remember that one.
Yeah, that was.
Why am I
advocating
just
for
here?
the-
And I look, apparently this guy's a fucking meme machine, and I haven't heard jack shit until apparently they found some comments on a porn website.
No, these
Why
are
is
all-
that?
No, no, no,
Why
no.
is
These
that?
are- no. These are all articles I'm reading like months ago. Hold on.
Why
You just
haven't
don't
I
hear-
heard
why
of it?
is that? It's because you live in your conservative bubble, and they don't
I
actually
come on
talk
here
about
every
these
Monday.
things.
We
They
haven't
don't
talked
actually
about
care about
this.
any of these things.
No,
Sorry.
I come on here every Monday. I'm not in a bubble. I engage with plenty of people who are
I've
ideologically
known
different
about
than
Mark
me.
Robinson like the entire time. I've been following
And
him.
you
the
and you
entire
never
time.
brought him up once
okay.
until
Oh.
the porn website. Come on,
This is your
It's
fault,
because-
Prime.
Blame
How
me.
It's
fucking
because
dare you?
you
Blame
guys
me for
care
your
about
own
the
failings.
porn. You guys are
Blame
hyper
me.
focused on the fact that he
Blame
likes
me.
transgender
I don't even
porn.
know
No,
what the
I
fuck
don't
is
Because
care.
going on.
deep down, you guys are transphobic. I think that's
Okay.
what it is.
Oh,
Right.
to be quite
Nice try.
fair,
We're kink shaming. How dare
no,
us?
you know what? In those comments, I am gonna kink shame. All the like ass to mouth discussions, like what the fuck is germs not real? Is E. coli not real, sir?
Whoa.
please.
First of all, E. coli is not necessarily harmful. Most E. coli is harmless.
Okay, thank
just
you.
FYI.
First of all, let's clear that up. Most
Yeah,
importantly,
let's not tarnish E. coli, a
Yes, so
very
defend
significant model
E.
organism
coli.
in biology. Absolutely, yes.
But then
E. coli
there's
has-
another question: it's a 2-point race now in North Carolina at the presidential level. So obviously this guy's like behind by double digits, this governor's race. But now people are talking about what are there reverse coattails happening because of this, and so then the question becomes, and a lot of people have been making arguments about this on Twitter, is can you blame Trump for Robinson? Now, a lot of people argue that you can, because Robinson was not the first choice of establishment Republicans in that state. Trump pushed him and made him the nominee, essentially by endorsing him. And so now, is it fair to say, to associate the things that Robinson has been saying with the Trump campaign more broadly? Is that fair? And
No.
I mean,
You're just trying to make it about Trump. This is like the porn thing. You want to make it look, Trump supports the guy that leaves weird comments about trans people on porn websites.
Because Trump said he's better than Martin Luther King. That's a Trump quote.
I think he said on steroids
Robin
too.
said
Bad on his
he's
toes.
Martin Luther King on steroids, and also
He probably he does sound like Martin Luther King on steroids, right? He's a little bit unhinged, right? Steroids can mess with your aggression.
Where's the Martin Luther
Donald
King
Trump was
part?
obvious. Like I don't know, maybe he was onto something with that, right? Like if you gave Martin Luther King a bunch
He's
of
actually
steroids.
also on record as hating Martin Luther King. But
Yeah,
that's a different.
yeah, that was also on the porn website. He was horny at that time too, I guess, right? When his dick gets hard, like he just starts piling all over the place.
Look, like I said, I don't know jack shit.
Yeah,
I don't know jack shit about this guy. I don't. All I know, the only thing I knew about this guy coming into this is that he left edgy comments on a porn website, and I don't think that's enough to just the comments themselves are enough to condemn somebody. Okay?
What I heard about Hitler was that he wasn't very good at painting. That's not really all that.
If that's all you heard, you should probably reserve your judgment.
You've now
on
heard
Hitler.
a lot more than what you heard at the beginning.
But then I obviously have to research it myself because you guys left wingers, you guys lie about things all the time. You guys said that JD Vance said he was making up stories, and I'm like, oh, that's horrible. And then I actually watched the full quote. Wow, it's completely the other way. You just lied about that completely.
No, we didn't.
Oh, and the very you did. And the very fine people comment. Turns out, Snopes had to correct you guys on that one.
Lactoid. Did he make up stories though? Did he actually make up stories?
So he did not say that he made up stories. He said that he made.
He said he created
stories. I'm not
stories.
asking that. I'm saying,
but he clarified what that meant. Like 2 sentences later.
No,
I don't think he made it up. I don't think he made it up. I think, and he clarifies this 2 sentences after the statement. He said that he heard from
asking you about that.
Hold on. I'm answering. He heard this from a constituent of his state, and he brought it forward.
He did.
He said he did.
Where's the proof?
Okay.
Oh, he said it. He said he did. Yeah, but where's the proof?
Yeah.
He's been saying, I've been getting all these calls from
because somebody did put it on Facebook.
Yeah,
I know they since got rid of it.
Okay, so counselor, this is from the lawyer, right? Who cross-examines people. Oh, wait a minute. First you were telling me this was a call, but now it's a Facebook post, right? Oh, so you saw within a Facebook post. You saw within a Facebook post of one of your constituents. Okay, right? So did you do any fact checking on this, or did you just run with a Facebook post and then you
probably just ran with the Facebook post? Yeah,
you said
irresponsible.
A Facebook post by a woman who later retracted it. Right? She was like, "Oh yeah, that cat was in my basement the entire time."
Just to be clear, none of this is the same thing as JD Vance admitted that he makes up stories. That is not what happened.
Oh my!
Okay, well,
see, and this is
it's just not what happened. This is not bad faith.
I have to take.
You might as well.
If what he said, hold on. If what he said is so bad, then actually just characterize it as he said it, as opposed to having to take it a step further. Right?
I'm not. Hold on.
People have been saying that he admitted to making up stories. This has been all over the media. It is a lie. He did not admit to this. That's a lie.
Okay, so he took a bullshit story off Facebook as if it was
talking
true.
about that quote. Hold on, how many times I have to say it?
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm not. Hold on, well then listen to me, because that means you weren't answering.
This started with This didn't start with a question from you. This started because I said the mainstream media. You lefties make this shit up.
You're not listening. You're talking. You're up your own ass again, right? Once I kept saying again and again, I'm not talking about the quote. I'm not talking about the quote. I'm not talking about the. I said it again and again. Then you said, "Oh, I'm answering your question," and then later on you're like, well, I was talking about the quote the whole time.
He does not make up stories.
Listening.
He didn't make up that story. He didn't make up that story.
Can I read the quote?
Only if you read the full quote.
I'll read everything. I'll read the whole thing, okay? Quote unquote. The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do. Later on, when asked to clarify, Vance doubled down. Dana, it comes from first-hand accounts of my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it. Is that what you wanted to hear? Is that the whole quote?
Yes. So that's not the same thing as saying that he makes up stories. It's not.
It's very similar.
It's not. Read the full quote. You just read it. Thank you.
But
You
it's
just
not
read it.
exactly that, Katya.
It's not exactly that, which is what I'm saying.
It's along
No,
those
like,
lines.
yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. What you guys
Lactoid
fucking
is
do.
such
This
an
is what you
Arab.
always. This is all you
You're
fucking.
such
This
an
is all
Arab
you,
lactoid.
this is what you motherfuckers do. Okay, you'll like exaggerate the bad in every single statement to the point where it's actually not true. When like you could just focus on the statement
brother,
itself.
I need an explanation. What does he mean?
country, brother. You can't.
He's
It
talking
is
about-
bad.
Then criticize him for
mean?
what he actually said,
Well,
as
can you
opposed.
give me-
I
you
have
Stillman
been, and then
list?
all you'll
I need
say is,
Stillman.
"Oh, it's not.
Fine,
It's not. It's not racism
You might be
either,
okay
right?
on this.
Because it's not
You might be.
racism.
Oh, okay, fine. You might be okay on this then, but you are not every mainstream media outlet that has been reporting for like days
Great.
now.
Then I disagree with you. Great, we
Can
can
I have
move
a
on
Stillman?
past
Great.
Can I
that.
have a
Great.
Stillman?
Well, then we're allies on
Lactoid,
this. Great,
please.
I don't
perfect.
think we
Please,
are.
Lactoid. Please, I'm begging. Can I have a Steelman? Because I'm honestly like, what exactly does this mean? To
Lactoid's
say
against the
I
steel
say
industry.
we're creating I say we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the media focusing on it.
Making
what does
headlines.
that mean?
Making headlines. That's
That
what
are
he meant.
that are unconfirmed? Because here's how I
You
interpret this.
can
Here's how I interpret
criticize his fact checking. Sure, that's fair.
Right, but here's how I interpret this, and tell me if I'm like, insane in the membrane, okay? What I read this and I think is he wants to call attention to some stuff that his constituents said that he thinks would be he wants to spread it for whatever reason. He
It
wants that
gets
to be
the
in the
people
forefront.
going.
So so he creates something relating to it that's bombastic that the media can be like, oh,
It creates a
whoa.
headline. Yeah.
Okay,
He's
so
running with
but
something
that doesn't necessarily
irresponsibly.
Here's the criticism you could levy. You could say, wow, I don't think JD Vance should be making headlines about something that's unconfirmed.
I don't think he should
No.
be
No, it's
exaggerating.
further
No,
than
fuck
that.
that.
It's
Say
further
that.
than that.
Say that.
Fuck that.
You talk.
If you exaggerate something that isn't even confirmed, then it's getting further and further and further away from
As
truth,
the
and
vice
it's
president, potential vice
irresponsible.
president, that comes into play.
He talks. So
I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying
complains about people on the left like exaggerating stories, and then when his
Very fine people.
it's chosen, when the candidate he's going to vote for,
least it's-
right, was saying that Haitians were eating cats and dogs. He was straight up lying, right? An exaggerated story. It's a story that didn't exist. That wasn't even true, right? But
He's
the Lactoid
exaggerating
is
the
mad.
comments that
Lactoid is
people
mad
made.
is because they slightly took a quote and blew it up just a little bit, right? Now he was
Just a
still
little
saying
bit.
lies. He was spreading lies the entire time. But Lactoid doesn't like that you said he's
It's
saying
not
making
just
up
a little
stories.
bit.
Well, he wasn't the author of the story. He just did everything he could at every point in time to spread the story. But he didn't actually
I'll
make it
explain
up.
why it's
And
different.
the fact that you would even mix that up, that means you're the bad guy. It's disgusting.
yeah, you are.
Lactoid.
No,
Extremely
it
bad
is,
faith.
it is,
Extremely
and I'll
bad
explain
faith.
why. Great, understand. So the reason why it's different is because when you frame this as, oh, JD Vance admits to making up stories, like what that comes across as is, wow, this guy said that he admitted to openly lying, he just pulled this out of nowhere, and he's just doing this raw, like for raw political gain. This is
Yeah, a little
fundamentally
context.
different. This is fundamentally different than, oh, my constituents here are complaining about this thing. I'm going to bring this to the front stage. I'm going to bring this to national
The
attention.
left keeps telling you guys that
cite them,
nuance and
right?
context
Did
is
he cite
important.
any of them?
And
Did
you
he
just
show us
refuse
any
to
of these
accept
first-hand
it.
You
accounts?
can criticize the second thing too. Like what
Okay,
you guys,
fine.
what
All
you
right,
guys-
then hold on. Hold yourself to the same standard. Then, if I can say
What about
immediately
what's about to
afterwards,
happen?
actually, that he admitted that it was a lie, that he made it up entirely on his own, and then you're going to ask me, okay, when did he?
Sorry, you're breaking up there. Could you repeat what you said, Aiko? Aiko, we can't hear you. You were sort of breaking up. Could you repeat?
Sometime after that
Yeah.
interview.
I think Discord.
Is it Discord?
Oh, sorry, did I cut
Is
off?
it
Yeah.
Discord or
Yeah, I
is it
couldn't hear
it's
anybody.
Discord.
I couldn't
Yeah,
hear.
Yeah.
anything
Discord
for a
was
second.
Oh, sorry. We
glitching.
had like a drop in bytes for bytes, the stream for Discord. So repeat everything you said again. So hold yourself to the same standard. Try it again. Aiko?
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
hear me?
Yep.
Oh, it happened again.
Keep talking.
There we go. Now we're back.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I just in case you guys
Oh, Aiko, we can't hear you.
didn't
Can't hear you.
hear some of what I said,
No.
can I just make up quotes?
One second.
Okay. Do we
Hold on,
need to like?
it sucks because I really want to hear what you have to say.
Do we need to
We're
restart?
already at US South. Fuck. Let's try another. Let's try US East. Or US Central maybe. Maybe that'll work.
Just refresh them.
We need to reboot, don't we?
Hold on. So
If we stop
I
our-
switched just to a different server.
Oh, good.
Try it again, Aiko. Can you guys all hear me?
Okay.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Try
Okay.
it again, Aiko.
Testing.
Is it works? Because you guys are cutting out a little bit, just not as much for me.
It's working for me right now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
working for
everything
me
seems
right now.
golden.
All right, it's going to wait for me to start my point again. I know.
Mhm.
So here we no. I just Lactoid. If we reverse this, and I said to you, there's a much more damning quote that he said where he admits everything, and then and I tell it to you, and then you ask me to confirm that, and I say, oh well, it's unconfirmed. Do you see how that would be? You would have a problem with that, right? You wouldn't accept that.
It reflects
So just
differently.
the fact that he's making these accusations
I can answer that. I can answer
bomb
that.
threats.
No, I can answer this directly to you, right? That would actually reflect very differently on your character. The two different quotes, the two different things that you could do. If you, for example, Aiko, if you say, like, let's say we have a conversation and you say that JD Vance said this, and at the end of the conversation you say, you know what, I actually completely made this up. I just pulled it out of my ass. I just thought it'd be a good talking point. Like, I'm going to be way more like upset with you than like if you pull a headline from like some like crappy like tabloid magazine and then you rolled with that as if it was proof. Even though both are not
Which happens
good,
all the time.
what happens all the time, especially on Discord, right? Yes, not the best, and I would still criticize. Say, Aiko, I thought you were better than this. I thought you had better
Right.
investigatory standards.
And fairly
But
so.
but this is fundamentally different than you just admit. Like, Aiko just admits to directly lying about JD. No, Aiko just pulled it from a unreliable source, and he should have done a better job fact checking. Different
Well,
question.
somebody's
Completely.
running
That's
for the
super
second highest office in the land.
Sure,
Somebody
Right.
have
It
any
was from
higher
sources
No,
from
it
his
can't.
experience.
No.
How can we
Yes, you
trust-
are. He lied. He should be
didn't
morally
lie.
accountable for
Story
what
How
he
can we
said.
trust somebody?
Constituents.
He
How
should
can
be
we
more
trust somebody who
accountable for
takes
what
a
he said. The guy
story?
clearly doesn't hold himself accountable to anything he's saying.
Then say
He's just
that.
saying whatever the fuck. I mean, that's
He
a
could hear
lie.
Don't say
anything
that he
from
lied.
anyone.
So wait, you're hung up. You're just hung up on the word.
Yeah.
Are you a
he
woman?
is.
Yeah.
When did you become a woman?
It's
When
no.
did you
It's
become
wait,
a woman?
whoa. It's
Sorry,
not the
I'm using his
word.
arguments against some
It's
ladies.
the
Sorry, when
concept.
did you become a woman?
It's the concept. First of all, this is sexist. Okay, I
I
won't
don't give a
stand for
fuck.
it.
I'm sexist.
As
When
a
did you become a
proud
woman?
defender of women everywhere,
You're
I
not a
won't
defender
stand
of
for this
women.
bullshit.
When
Sorry,
did you become a
I can
woman?
barely say that without laughing. But here, Ollie, like I just explained it to Aiko, okay? Where
Brother.
the two kinds of statements are fundamentally different. And if you want to criticize, if I was criticizing Aiko for that, I would say, Aiko,
You don't know
like,
what people mean when
like why
they
the
say
fuck?
that?
Why the fuck are you pulling these headlines from like such unreliable tabloid sources? That's the criticism. And if that was a criticism against JD Vance, fine,
It's not
whatever.
even a tabloid
He
source.
said,
it's
okay, the guy
fucking
didn't say
Facebook.
he'd lie. He
Yeah,
said
but
he's willing to
it's
say
not,
whatever.
It's not
his
about
consi-
the initial lie, right? Or whatever you want to call it.
the intention of
it's
what he's
about the fact
saying.
that once it was pointed out to him and he had plenty of time to go back and research it and find evidence for it, he's continued to stick with it. Absolutely will not back off on it, given any opportunity that he has. At this point, you have to now say he's lying because
No,
he's
Why
not
I
would
doing-
don't-
anything he has to say after that?
Lactoid, can I take you down a little analogy journey really quick that I think is a one-to-one to this Vance thing. So
Go
let's
ahead.
say that in a state, let's say that maybe 10 people, 15 people were riding their bike and they got into an accident with a car that hit them. Not necessarily died, but they got into an accident with them. And all of them looked up the name of the person who they saw on the police report on Facebook. And some of them had like Trump stuff or Republican stuff on their profiles. We're not even sure if it's their profiles, but it had their name. And they said, oh my gosh, Republicans are purposefully hitting cyclists with their cars. And then some prominent Democrat politician who's running for vice president, if Tim Walz did this, and said, yeah, Republicans right now are purposefully hitting people with their cars all the time. They're doing this. They just can't help it. They're hitting people with their cars. And then we go, oh, what the heck? This is not true. You're making up a story. And he goes, I'm just trying to make a headline they can grab onto to pay attention to the fact that Republicans tend to drive larger trucks that tend to not have as good a visibility on the road, making them more likely to have an accident with a cyclist. Would that be like okay? Like, would we?
I never said it'd be okay or that we should like it. I'm saying that there is a fundamental difference. You can criticize Tim Walz. By the way, you can criticize him for a lot of the blatant lies they've been saying, especially about monitoring women's pregnancies. But yeah, in the analogy, it'd be very different than if Tim Walz came out and said, "Yeah, like I pulled like my constituents said that like they were hit by a Trump supporter or like they were punched by a Nazi or that this happened and like this is awful. I'm bringing this to national attention." Like one of my constituents was beaten by a cop, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then later the footage comes out where it's like, well, actually that's not what happens. Or, it turns out the whole thing was fraudulent. Or it turns out like there's more context or whatever the fuck. Yeah, it'd be different. The criticism is different from saying, hey, you have an obligation as a public official to do a better job researching the things that you bring to the national stage, as opposed to J.D. Vance, you literally just made this up out of thin air.
All right, fine. Wait, do you give him that criticism then?
I want to Corey in because
you give him that criticism. So how do you vote for someone who doesn't look into what they're saying?
Because he's been waiting. Even though I'm still bursting with things to say. Corey, please go ahead.
Oh, well, I'm still going to continue on the same line. So Selective, I don't want to misquote you, but for the crux of the argument I heard from you,
you don't make up stories. You don't make up stories. Yeah.
But what I understand from what you're saying, it's like put things in context and like whatever, criticize the people for the actual bad things they say and don't make up whatever lies, or pretty much with the JD Vance situation of like, don't cherry pick one quote, provide the full quote and criticize him for that of the full context of what he says. Am I understanding you correctly?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So in your opinion, is someone saying I'm a black Nazi a bad thing or a good thing? Or does that need more context?
Needs more context, of course.
Okay.
As my position is very consistent. Didn't I just say that the context of it being in a porn forum is like relevant to like the context of that statement?
It's not.
Okay.
What's the relevance?
You guys say it's not. I say it is.
Well, okay. What's the relevance there? Explain it.
Yeah. What's the relevance of it being on a porn forum?
Because the reason why
I'll
explain it.
It's all you have to do. Yeah.
Yes. This guy sounds like he's into some real like kinky shit. Like gender play, some race play.
What does being a black Nazi have to do with this shit?
There's some people who want to pretend to be the dictator, so there's men that want to like pretend to be dogs and get like whipped by their master.
I hear you,
of course, this is part of like
they give you they give you the snippet, they give you the conversation that was happening at the time. It was without any prompting. He just inserts, "I'm a black Nazi."
That almost makes it funnier, first of all. But I do really want to point out, like this is what's happening, right? I explained why I said they should not be saying the things they're saying about J.D. Vance, and now here we are going back to Mark Robinson when we've already had a discussion about the statements. I am being consistent. My criticism here is not that you can't criticize somebody for bringing things to the national stage without sufficient fact checking. It's that there's a difference between that and literally somebody admitting to just pulling shit out of their ass. Those are two different things. That's all I'm saying.
No. Acknowledge. Great, right? And I'm saying like the thing you're talking about is a complete fucking distraction, right? It's a complete distraction from the actual problem. Here's my problem with it that we keep going back to, and apparently we'll never stop. Maybe we'll be arguing about this for years to come, right? Is that like because you can't really understand systemic racism, you can't seem to understand the larger context, not when it comes to race, right? It doesn't seem to click for you, right? Then you also can't understand demagoguing. Clearly, this is a clear example of racial demagoguing, but you don't actually believe you don't believe it's racist, okay? Because it focused on a specific country of people, right? Like in othering them, right? Rather
he
than
supports Mark Robinson. How can it be racist?
So it's I know he's gonna lure you to death. It's like, whoa, it's not exactly racist. No, okay, so it's bigotry, right? It's bigoted demagoguing, but you no matter what, you'll do anything you can to ignore the larger context, no matter what it is, because you don't get systemic racism or systemic bigotry, whichever you like to prefer, whichever makes you happy, right? You don't actually acknowledge that these things exist. You don't acknowledge history. Haitians aren't the first group in America to be accused of eating pets, right? We actually have a long history of saying that about different groups, like the Chinese, like the there was I think Muslims at some point were accused of this very same thing. Like there is a history of white people.
Wait, don't they actually dogs in like Asian culture though?
I think in
China and Korea, like I have a Korean friend who literally is eating dogs.
When you say that in
That's
America,
really
when
awesome. Do they
when you say
take
that in
people's
America,
pets and do that here?
when you say that to white people who make out with their dogs, you kind of paint this picture.
There's
that
white people who make out with their dogs. Yeah,
they say the wildest shit about every wave of immigrant groups. And it's not like you don't understand this history, right? You try to pretend that you don't. Like, you can't understand the larger context. So that's my problem with you. Because you're fucking bad faith. You're fucking bad. I used to think that you were that Leclerc must a good faith person, I would say. But I keep seeing this again and again, especially when it comes to race, right? You have a complete inability when it comes to race to understand the context of things, how these things relate, how they have a larger history. And at this moment, the thing that you focus on, right? In this moment, when he's accusing these people, when he's making their lives more dangerous, the thing that you focus on is like, well, he didn't actually make up the story himself. He didn't actually do that. No, he just repeated a lie again and again. Yeah. That's the real problem. You're the real problem, liberal. You're the real problem, not poor old JD Vance. Don't beat up on him. Hasn't he suffered enough in all this? Really isn't JD Vance the victim in this whole situation? You're fucking bad faith. According.
I'm so sorry, Brian.
Continuing on this, so
I'm not joking with you, man. Like I'm not. I don't find this funny at all.
So for you, the fact that the context of I'm the black Nazis on a porn site. That's the context for you. It's like whatever. I can't take it seriously. So with that in mind, so should if there's if you were to make like a direct death threat on a porn site, that should not be taken seriously. Also,
given the context, it depends like the nature of the death threat. Like if it's specific enough.
Yeah, like a fellow, whatever username.
Like for example, if someone was on a porn site like I'm gonna kill you, that's probably not something to take seriously. If it's here's your coordinates, here's a picture of the gun, I'm on my way to your house. Okay, now we have like a little more context here that adds. Yeah, but like I'm gonna kill you, or like I'm gonna like rip your guts out. Like
so I don't know the legality of it, but like with that, like is the threshold like different on direct threats on a porn site? Like, would police treat it differently in terms of like, someone saying
threat or not? Yeah.
Well, yeah. So like, what is like? Do they need like threshold and GPS coordinates and like?
No. Yeah. Well,
the weapon.
That was an example. I don't know it's going to be again context dependent. What's literally going to be is a cop is going to a cop's going to look at it and like look through all of it and decide whether or not that's going to be enough to investigate it as a threat.
On a porn site, if whatever a 19-year-old is joking about doing a mass shooting on a porn site, should that also not be taken seriously? Because that happens.
It depends on the context. If he's saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna shoot up the club" on like a cream pie video, probably like the context there is different than like if it's like a picture of like an AR and he's like, "I'm coming." Like again, it depends on the context, and obviously every context is going to be a little bit different, but. Just this statement, is that always going to be? No, it's not always going to be enough. There's always going to be additional context that needs to be evaluated, of course.
Well, so then why would police ever, let's say, investigate, jokes in a video game online about school shootings? Or police should not ever investigate.
It depends the context on the threats.
Yeah, but from what I understand, at least from the reports that I've seen, like teenagers aren't saying like I'm going to like shoot up this school. They're just like making sort of arguably ambiguous, like I'm going to whatever do a mass shooting. Like,
it depends how ambiguous a threat is at the time, and it depends on the context of the game they're playing, right? If they're playing like Call of Duty and there's like a school in the map, let's say, like that could be different too, right? Like again, what are you trying to like dunk on me? I'm saying that like
I'm not trying to dunk on
you. I'm saying it's context dependent on what a threat is or isn't, and then we obviously analyze the context of every statement, and we should be honest. All I'm saying is that we should be honest about the context of when somebody says something and why they say something. And when news media, look, you guys can criticize JD Vance for many things, fair. But when the media is clipping that first part and then just rolling with that, he admits that he is a liar. That's what they're saying. That is not true. And it harkens back to multiple instances in which they're saying Donald Trump called Nazis very fine people. Also not true when you go one paragraph later in that very same speech. And when you constantly have like exaggerated and fake, exaggerated and fake, exaggerated and fake, taken out of context over and over again, you develop this idea about somebody that's largely inaccurate. People think that Donald Trump is the second coming of Hitler because, partially perhaps because of his policies you disagree with, but in a big part because you've been lied to so often about the things that he's actually said.
Well, rather than defending the person, right, and defending that they're not lying, right, explain that you can simply just be like, these people need to be held accountable or criticized for these things, but then also criticize them. Why is it always a defense and never like a joy? Like, you understand what the criticism is when someone says he's lying about these people. You understand what we're saying. You understand the gist of what we're getting to. You may not like the verbiage. Fine, I understand it. We're not lawyers. We're not going to sit here and be specific in our speech, especially when we're talking. But you understand that we are supposed to be, we're kind of like representing the average person. So you understand what we're saying. Rather than jumping in and criticizing your side as well, because I've been quick to criticize my side, so I'm like pretty neutral on this. So rather than jumping in and criticizing alongside and making your side better, no, you're just quick to defend. You just defend it. Well, he's not.
No. What this is. Let's be like straightforward here.
No,
like,
I mean, I feel
like you guys are generally left wing, and you guys are generally opposed to him. Now we could circle jerk about how JD Vance should have done better. I agreed immediately. I just said, yeah, that was pretty irresponsible. Now, do we want to circle jerk about it, or do we want to hash out the actual differences that we have?
Well, I mean, when you say it's pretty irresponsible, do you understand how big of a deal that is? Okay, no, it shouldn't happen at all, like ever.
Yes.
And
people
continue.
You shouldn't. Generally speaking, if there's insufficient evidence to bring forth a claim to the national stage, you probably shouldn't do it. I agree.
Okay, so we shouldn't support people who do this because that sets a bad precedent. That sets a bad precedent going forward if we just keep accepting little by little. The nudge keeps going inch by inch. By the end of it, we're a mile long, and these guys can just literally lie and do whatever the fuck they want because we've been nudging so long. That's why I asked, like, who was like the most character held president, because we keep nudging the line.
You will find one bad thing. You will find one bad thing that one. You will find, because your question is, well, why would you support this person if he does this? Well,
no, I've never asked you that, Lactoid, because I will never.
You just said he lied about the dogs. How can you support somebody that said that?
No. I said the character of the people. This isn't something he individually lied about. This is a character of the people who are doing it. They seem to just run with the rhetoric that they hear. They don't do any fucking research. My judgment isn't that these people are liars. It's that they're fucking morons, and that you're just voting for idiots who are just puppets. That they don't even know what they're saying. I don't care that they may not be lying, but they're regurgitating facts that they don't even fucking believe. They don't even know if it's real or not. These are the people that are being supported. Not that it's liars. It's literally people who are openly telling you, hey, I don't fucking know if this shit's real or not, but like, I got some influence, I got some power, I'm running for vice president, I need people to vote for me, and we got to get the people going.
Find me the perfect candidate and I'll vote for him.
No, I'm just saying. Well, we never will if we never hold any of them fucking accountable. That's
but I'm one person. I am one person in a country of 320 million. I'm one person in a country of 320 million people. I voted third. I voted third party the last two elections. Okay, I understand. I understand the principle argument here. I'm empathetic towards this. I've already talked about this, but there comes a question of. We just had this conversation. In a two-party system, you're often voting against somebody as opposed to for somebody.
Wait, didn't you just say though that like it's just Chase Oliver to the other two candidates, right? So if you're really serious by saying find me the perfect candidate, I'll vote for him. Well, this candidate is at least more perfect than the other two by your lights, right?
But it doesn't matter. So
Right, it's just kind of weird that
he doesn't get to be part of the winning team. That's the problem.
Wait.
A metric should vote third party.
A metric of being perfect is having a chance to win.
You often defend these people and these people's arguments, and then say like, "Oh, well, I'm not even really on their side, anyways." But I feel like you'll often die on these hills for these
because I insist on honest conversations. Correct.
But it's not that honest.
It is honest.
Defense, and you never understand
it's running defense. Lactoid clarifying the thing that we said that was incorrect. Oh, what a bad guy. He should join us and poop on JD Vance. We should all poop on JD Vance.
I never said he lied. Do you think it's a big deal that like a president is saying that, hey, like they're eating cats and dogs? Do you think it's a big deal or not?
It's like hold on. I'm not defending it. It's a shitty
Do you
thing.
think it's? I didn't ask you if you're defending it.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't.
Okay, so what if Kamala got up and said, "Hey, these white teens are just shooting up schools"? Would that be a big deal?
Wait. They say that, and
she says the white teens are just shooting up schools. Is that a big deal?
They're doing it. Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's like
they're doing it.
It's probably a bigger deal than like the eating the cats and dog. Hold on.
Why?
Bigger. Hold on, brother. It's probably a bigger deal than like eating the cats and dogs thing, but it's probably like less of a big deal compared to a number of other things, right?
You think if the potential candidate for for president of the United States gets up and says, "Hey, our white teens are shooting up schools. White teen males are shooting up schools." You don't think that's a huge fucking problem that would cause like a lot of issues for, young teens in America? And like the reason I ask you that is because that's like, it's a different level. Like if you say something, if Destiny says something, if Elon says something, then if the fucking potential president of the United States says something. These are different levels of magnitudes that like we need to like honestly look at and think about when it comes to, oh, this person made a mistake. Fuck you. You don't get to make that kind of mistake. You are not some average guy.
It's a responsibility. Yeah. As a vice president or a president, you have a bigger responsibility for what you say and what you tell the country and what you stand for. So to just take a Facebook story and spread something like that, it is essentially making up a story.
It's just
an example. Wait. Here. Let me. So on November 19th, 2021, Kamala Harris in a tweet stated, "Today's verdict speaks for itself. I've spent a majority of my career working to make our criminal justice system more equitable. It's clear there's still a lot more work to do." This came immediately on the heels of the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. This is like much worse than the eating cats and dogs.
Moron.
Hold on. She is saying Kyle Rittenhouse should have been found guilty and that he wasn't because he's white. That's what this tweet is saying.
Yeah, he should have been found guilty. He was an idiot.
He should have been found guilty of what?
Yeah. Of being underage, taking a gun across the state to defend property that wasn't his, that has no tie to him, getting himself involved in a situation that led him to that. Yeah, he's a fucking. All of that was his fault.
Wait.
He shouldn't have been there.
Yeah. Let me be very clear here. We don't have to. You're right. This does not legally have bearing. The things that are being brought up, and the Kyle Rittenhouse situation.
About legal bearing. So that's the point.
Well, but it matters when
it was self-defense. But the guy was a fucking idiot.
Her tweet was saying the legal system needs to be more equitable, and obviously this verdict means we have more work to do. She is saying in that tweet.
It's more of an opinion than a statement, though. Yeah, that's more of her opinion. That lots of people
also she wasn't talking about white teen mass shooters. There's a difference.
Listen,
that was a pretty random instance.
Listen. If you and I followed the Kyle Rittenhouse trial from beginning to end, and this is something I feel very strongly about. Yeah. There's only two kinds of people that don't think Kyle Rittenhouse was not guilty. Okay, it's people who just simply haven't done enough research and complete dogmatic, controlled morons.
Wait.
There's only two.
No. He acted in self-defense, 100%.
Okay. Then when he was found not, then when he was found not guilty. No, so it doesn't matter legally. It doesn't matter legally. It doesn't matter legally.
It doesn't matter legally.
Kamala Harris said it was legal. Kamala Harris brought up the legal system. That's the point I'm making. So you're saying, oh, wouldn't it be horrible if we have a candidate saying this?
Yeah, she shouldn't have said that.
Great, she shouldn't have said it. Great,
yeah, she shouldn't be president. I'm not voting for her, brother. I don't like the person that she is. I stand on my shit, and I don't like the character of the person I have to vote for.
Again, that's fantastic. But now going back to the very first thing that we talked about here is, holy shit, in a two-party system, sometimes you vote against as opposed to for. And when I'm looking at this, the cats and dogs things pales in comparison to an entire party defending the fact or attacking this kid who defended himself against a pedophile that tried to fucking kill him. That's literally what happened.
Hey, whoa. Fuck that. I'm so sick of this argument, bro.
He
put himself in a situation. He put himself in a situation where he had to defend himself, which is one. And then he shot someone where he didn't know who the person was. So you don't get to use that as a plus on the other side. That's obnoxious.
There's no point trying to relitigate this. No point trying to.
I'm not relitigating. I agreed that it was self-defense under the
terms of the law. And I agree. JD Vance was irresponsible.
Great. Yeah. And the thing that I find interesting is that, like, you really think that, like, this kid being accused, rightly or wrongly, of shooting these individuals, that's worse than putting in danger an entire population of a whole ethnic group of individuals, right? Making their lives more dangerous. Like, once again, like, I find it interesting that you say, I've followed this case because it means a lot to you. Apparently, the Kyle Rittenhouse case, you followed this. You've done a lot of research on it, right?
I watched all the videos,
facts, right? So, like, it seems to be a pattern that, like, when you just detect anti-white racism, it's a big deal to you, right? But when just like general bigotry, I guess, well, you didn't really know the situation behind the cats and dogs things. You said it was uncertain. It was uncertain if it was happening. I didn't know the facts were already at the time, but it was uncertain, right? I guess it didn't require your level of research then, right? There was a genocide happening in Gaza. I don't really know anything about that, right? I don't really actually. I've heard some stuff. But I actually don't know.
I know
right?
it's happening. I just don't know if it's considered a genocide.
Yeah, you don't know. I know, and still, like, and in 11 months, in nearly a year, right? In nearly a year, you haven't found the time for that. But you found the time to obsessively.
Let me be clear. When I say wait. When I say, I'm currently unconvinced that it is a genocide. Just to be clear, the Kyle Rittenhouse represents more than just like a pudgy kid who, like, they were trying to, like, throw in a cage, right? He represents more than that. Kyle Rittenhouse represents the American right of self-defense. And that was on trial. That was on trial. He was on trial. He was defending himself. If you, again, only two people. Either you're ignorant of this facts.
I'm not arguing about like how the case. I'm arguing that like you elevate this to it's like the Second Amendment was on the line, people, right?
Self-defense was on the line. Yes.
Yeah, the Second Amendment. Like, I mean, look,
it was the most defensible case, and they still went after him.
That there is a pattern with you, and you don't see it. You don't see it, but there's a pattern with you. Pattern about the things you care about, right? The things you definitely don't seem to care about, or never seem to grab your attention, right? Or
yes, I care about some things and not others.
Yeah, indeed. I know. I'm saying that.
So do you. You care about some things and not others.
Yeah, and I'm noticing this pattern, right? That anti-white racism tends to follow you. You can recognize that immediately, right? And the things that you defend immediately, like I think Ali said that it's interesting that, like, rather than like dealing with like the heart of the problem, right? You can see there's a group of people who are upset, right? They're bringing an issue to you, right? They're debating it. What you'll do once you disagree is that you'll find, like, oh, you used this word wrong. Right? Use this one word wrong. Hey, like, it's not racism because he didn't indict a race. No, he indicted an ethnic group. It's not that. So let's spend 20 minutes talking about that. Let's fight. Like, that's the thing that you'll focus on, and then you'll get hyper specific, right? And we got to get the definitions right rather than addressing the larger issue because you don't want to, because you don't care. This is what I'm saying. So and it's a bad faith tactic, and you know it is, and you know it is. No. You recognize it as well.
Prime. Couple things here. First of all, you only gotten super heated about this. Whoa, super heated. Wow. Bigotry against Haitians. All of a sudden you give a fuck. All of a sudden you're super hyper passionate about this.
Don't try that
second,
with me.
Oh, no. You brought it up to me.
Yeah,
you don't like a little bit of your own poison here? You don't like when you criticize me for focusing on certain things? I can't criticize you for focusing on certain things?
What I'm saying
is bizarre.
You've been here for years. You've seen me get heated for many when this happened for many other groups.
Specific topics.
This isn't the first time. Hold on. Are you going to pretend this is the first time? Are you seriously going to do it? After years of being here with me.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to answer the fucking question. I have been here for years with you, and this is the most heated I've ever seen you get. Specifically about the bigotry against Haitians. Yes, you have gotten heated on other things. I'm not saying that you haven't been. But I'm obviously saying that on certain topics, you get more passionate and you're more interested and you learn more about certain topics than other topics, as all of us do. What you're criticizing me is I brought up this specific thing about JD Vance because I was pointing out, hey, like, there's a consistent theme here of there's some like nugget of truth, like underlying something bad that somebody says. And maybe we could even agree that one thing is bad, but then it's like, it's twisted and exaggerated. And I don't know if you guys are doing that with Mike Robinson, just like you guys did with Donald Trump and you guys did with JD Vance. I'm not defending JD Vance's statement on the merits. Like, that's the criticism. That's the critical element to understand here. The reason why I brought the JD Vance thing was because I'm pointing out it seems like consistently the criticism can never be levied about what actually happened. The criticism is always levied as to like some exaggerated monster Frankenstein that you've crafted out of some of the truths that have actually happened.
Well, it's
I
because the
know
result
you're
of
not.
what they say.
Hold on. I know you're not defending JD Vance on the merits. You're trying to ignore the merits that we're bringing up. I get that. You're like the heart.
What does not ignoring it look like?
That's what the thing that we want to talk that we were bringing up there is this, and like this is. I find
answer
it
the
amazing.
question.
What
does not ignoring it look like?
I find it amazing. I find it amazing that you would say that. Now you. That you think this is the most heated I've gotten? No, the most heated I've gotten is probably Israel Palestine, the Israel-Gaza conflict, right? Because there's a genocide happening. There's a genocide happening. I've never devoted much time to anything like that because there's a fucking genocide happening right now. That's where I've gotten the most heated, right? You know, the time of the one time, I believe it's one time. Maybe I've cried before, but the one time, at least I can remember, the time that like I cried on stream, right? It wasn't over Haitians, right? You getting made fun of. It's that people were saying that individuals in Afghanistan and Iraq, well, those are acceptable casualties, right? Of the American military. That was just okay. That those lives don't fucking matter. That's when I cried on stream. No, trust me, I haven't gotten this isn't me getting maximally upset, right? So don't throw that at me. I care about my empathy extends all over the world. It doesn't for you, clearly, right? And I'm saying that, like, specifically, like, the thing that seems to get you is anti-white racism. That's something you'll pay attention to. But beyond that, it's like when this other types of bigotry are brought in, now you got to get really specific with the definitions, right? Now that like you'll stop the conversation rather than actually engaging with the topic at hand. And I think it's fair to point out, it's fair to point out that, hey, you misused something. Okay, that's fair. Okay, I hear you, right? And that at some point we do have to be using these definitions correctly, or there'll be a we'll start misinterpreting our words, right? If we're coming from two different standpoints and we haven't aligned our perspectives, that's okay. But you'll stop and end the conversation on exactly this. That's what you'll do, and we'll never get to the merits, right? And then at the end of the day, well, of course I didn't defend the merits. I didn't defend the content of the statement, certainly not. Of course not, because you never got the chance to, because you've been arguing about the definition. Well, it's not exactly racism, is it? Right? It's bigotry, and I kind of resent that you're using the word racism. That's not race, because it's worse that we call for conservatives, right? It's worse that someone is called a racist rather than the racism that is actually taking place. I've noticed that pattern with you again and again. That for years I've seen.
Okay. So I asked you a question before the rant. I asked you a question specifically.
Okay.
What does not ignoring it look like? Because we weren't talking about the Haitians eating dogs. That actually wasn't the topic. The topic was Mike Robinson. And the reason why JD Vance was brought up was specifically an example of the media twisting his words. So I want you to very clearly explain to me, why is it dodging the topic to focus on the fact the media was twisting his words in that context? Why is that like ignoring the topic of the Haitians eating dog story when that wasn't the topic?
Why is
it started, I think, over like the whole making up stories thing, because like,
yes.
I don't know who, but I make.
We weren't talking about the dogs. That wasn't the topic. You made it about that because I was talking about the media twisting words, specifically about the dogs topic, and then you're saying I'm dodging the dogs topic. We weren't talking about that.
No. Okay, so I'm rewinding my my thought process here, right? Because you brought up or I'm not sure exactly who, right? So I won't say it was you, but like someone brought up the storytelling thing, right? Like you making up stories, right? Now I'm not sure if you were the one who said that or someone else, but
I was the one who said that.
I think
and I said, okay. I said something along the lines, okay, acknowledged, right? But let's talk about what he actually did then, right? So let's move past that point, right? Because I know you, because I've watched you do this many times before. The thing that I just spent all this time describing, right?
This what you want to switch the topic from what we were talking about to the dogs thing again? Just
the conversation moved.
Sure. Yeah, no, it didn't. It didn't move. You moved it there, which you look. It's your right to do as a moderator. Sure, we can talk about the dogs thing. I think it was bad. What more conversation do you want to have about it?
What more conversation? Okay. Well, the conversation that I wanted to have last time was what? Hey, is this an actual racist or
we had that conversation?
And then, yeah, I'm saying that like during that conversation, what you tried to do was like it was like pulling teeth with you, because whenever we get on the subject of race, you have a hard time understanding context, that like everything is just a one-off, right? And we can't understand how this fits within our political history, right? None of that ever matters, right? It's just JD Vance misspoke, right? JD Vance
I didn't say he misspoke. I didn't say he misspoke. Look, what this is happening. So what you're saying is we were having a different conversation, and then I brought up as an example JD Vance having his words twisted, and you then just like kind of got like upset because you remembered our last conversation and that I didn't agree with you enough, or you don't think I was good faith enough in that conversation. So now we're having that conversation again. And when I don't want to have that conversation again, when I want to talk about the thing that I was going back and forth with Katya on, that's me dodging the topic.
No. When I was saying you're dodging time, I'm saying this is a pattern. I'm not talking about just like now, right? I'm saying this is a pattern that like when it comes to topics of race, that you all of a sudden like I mean I've stated it like 10 times already. Like that context doesn't seem to matter. Like you don't understand the history of it all, right? Like none of that ever seems to play in to your calculations. Everything is just a one-off, and everything isn't really racist. Is this thing like you'll like there'll be an ethnic group I don't know what's the point of me saying it again. I've like already said it.
You're right. Racism is bad. I'm sorry.
So,
yeah, but hold on. As if you recognize if it's racist, because you won't.
I said I don't think it is. You told me to agree with you. Is that why you're upset?
I know
you're just upset that I'm not agreeing with you.
No,
Prime. You're right. It's racism.
No. Don't try that. I'm not. People can have difference of opinions. That's okay, right? You try to pride yourself on being good faith about these things, right? That if you present present an argument, you'll go, okay, well, and you'll present a counter argument, right? And then you'll battle out. And if someone has a better argument, or they just like box you to a corner, you don't really have an answer. You're like, okay, well, maybe I might be wrong on this. Except for the topic of race, that no matter what it is, right? We keep going back again and again.
What if you boxed me in on race on anything?
By what?
Name me one topic on race that you've boxed me in, like any topic regarding race that you've boxed me in on.
Sure, systemic racism. When we're talking about the history in terms of housing discrimination, right? And its effects, its negative effects and its current effects.
What was my position? What was my position on housing discrimination?
You're
what was
fine with housing discrimination.
Hold on. Do you think that? Oh, my opinion is that I think people should have the liberty to do this. Do you think that's a fact statement that I can be wrong about?
No. No. Sorry. I'm saying that.
What have I been wrong about?
The topic of when we've talked about the topic of housing discrimination, and its effects, right? And whether the discrimination is even happening, right? No matter what. It just seems like it's not happening, or any systemic racism at all in general. When it comes to systemic racism, whether it's happening, you can't see it. You can't, no matter what the arguments are. You can't ever seem to see it. You don't believe? Sorry, am I wrong? Do you believe systemic racism is a real thing?
You haven't listed a specific. My criticism of systemic racism is that it's oftentimes you're using it. My criticism is how it's used right now, which is, oh, I'm not going to get into specifics because I don't want to be fact checked on specifics. So I'm just going to say systemic racism. We don't talk about housing discrimination. We can have a conversation about housing discrimination. We don't talk about police brutality. We can have a conversation about police brutality. And I always come to these conversations with a litany of facts, right? You set the topics and I bring facts to the conversation and I cite shit. I cite FBI shit. I cite Pew Research. I cite all sorts of shit when it comes to making the claims that I make. Name one claim that I've made that's wrong. I don't just make up shit. I actually do like look at this shit.
You mean ever? Because we
about race.
Okay,
not about whether or not it's a fucking hormone or a fucking neurotransmitter. You bitch.
Yeah.
I'm specifically talking about race.
In that case, you cite Dr. Mike.
Yeah. Okay. See, wait. That was a lactoid JD Vance moment. I obviously cited somebody who wasn't an authority on the issue. That was a problem, and you criticized me for that, Corey. But Corey, do you think it'd be fair to say, well, lactoid literally just made that up out of nowhere? He just wanted to debate that, so he just made up that it was a hormone and not a neurotransmitter, or a neurotransmitter and not a hormone.
I can acknowledge that your mistake was unintentional and it was not malice.
Thank you. Malice.
Not
The attribution of malice. That's the reason why lying is different. That's why that's important. And that's what the topic of the conversation was before we went down on this fucking railroad about how lactoid's not woke enough for me. It's fucking, I don't know. I don't even know where we're at.
Lactoid, can I give you a little like zoomed out criticism here? What it sounds like to me sometimes is that there are certain topics for which you're okay with, more vague or like more circumstantial evidence to prove a point, and some for which you really provide, or you need to be provided direct evidence for, when they're kind of a one-to-one on either side, and it's a little bit frustrating sometimes. Like, that's the way I would say it, and not go into specific topics, but like there are some things that it seems like you have a higher standard for that isn't like for any needed basis for it to have a higher standard of evidence.
This could be a fair criticism, but I would need an example to like self-evaluate, right?
Okay, so for example, it seems like when it comes to stuff like Mark Robinson or like JD Vance, we're, more willing to say, I don't know, or, he could mean it this way, or, oh, this is just, with the Haitian stuff, basically that they are, the whole thing about how it's racist, or it's discriminatory, or it's different because it's against a racial group or against a ethnic group or whatever.
I called it potentially bigoted against a nationality.
Right, potentially that's true on that, but like there were certain parts of it where it seemed like if there was circumstantial evidence given kind of past events or given surrounding events that added to it, you were just zooming in on the one part of it, while with other things you'll look at the higher context.
Bigoted against a nationality? That just seems like such a roundabout way of just saying racism. It's just like,
no, it's different because the American. I'm about to go real woke on you, because race in America is a far different context than just nationality. Right? Race incorporates a lot of different nationalities, and a lot of different nationalities have often different relations with each other. For example, white people include, Germans, Italians, et cetera, and all of them have sort of a unique ethnic group. But by being in America, they've generated sort of a white American ethnic group, and Black Americans have their own ethnic group as well.
No, I understand. It just seems like it just comes off like you're going you're avoiding anything, like trying to avoid saying racism at like any cost. Like that's just how it comes off.
No, he's just saying there's Black Americans and then there's Haitians, but like what you know this, that most people see Haitians and Black Americans as just Black people.
No, so wait. Like, hold on. They may see Haitians as Black, but they don't see Black people as Haitians.
No, I know, and that's what I was saying. I was like, they may see like there are Black Americans, there are Haitians. The Black Americans aren't Haitians, but the average person just sees Black people. They don't really give a fuck if they're Haitian, Jamaican, Caribbean, African, Nigerian. You're just Black. So
wait. No. The Trump
we're sophisticated with our racism?
No. The Trump supporter is going to see Black American and immigrant. That's what they're going to see.
It just seems like semantics, honestly. Like,
I mean, it's not semantics.
What
I desire to be accurate.
Wait. They're gonna see immigrant and then they're gonna see Black American, but they're gonna lump them together. That's what just like they're gonna lump the Muslims and the Browns together, just like you're gonna lump.
No, not necessarily. Mexicans are not Muslim.
It's already happened. We don't even have to guess about this. The one person whose picture gets shown, like for the cats and dogs thing, is an American Black woman who was born in America who apparently attacked a neighbor's cat or whatever, had fur on her face. Not from Springfield, and also from a different time period as well. But and also not a Haitian. But she had darker skin, so people were willing to conflate her with a Haitian. Like
And
this
the- and the
happened
guy
specifically in that
And
story.
the guy carrying the goose, right? That was from a different town, right? And he was like, that was his job. He was cleaning up roadkill, is what he was doing, right? But like, he's a Haitian now. That
was, like,
random
killing
black guy
geese
is also a Haitian.
to eat them. And
Wait, hold on. Was the goose guy an immigrant?
As far as we know, I don't believe so. He was like
was a
working for
worker.
this. I believe he was working for the city, and he was like cleaning up roadkill.
Yeah, see, like that's kind of the thing is that when we really zoom in, you're not technically wrong about the ethnicity versus race thing, and I think that there are some topics where Lactoid, you're not like factually incorrect, and people can get you in the facts. But the thing is that a lot of them are maybe not 100% like mapping onto how the real world works because people don't have perfect knowledge and people spread shit that isn't true and people act as like a hive mind sometimes.
And speaking
it's
colloquialisms and slang.
scary. Yeah, and they, use simplified language and stuff like that.
I
It's
think
just-
the person who, if you're saying, I haven't seen this meme at all, by the way. If you're saying there's a meme going around of like a picture of a black woman eating a cat, and they're calling her a Haitian eating a cat, the creators of that meme and the people who are supporting that meme, like that could be racist, sure.
I haven't seen this.
If they're just rolling with the assumption, well, she's black.
I,
But it has to be like, kind of like specific.
But then again,
yeah.
like it's also difficult because like if you showed me a picture of a white guy and you said like this Polish guy is like eating cats and there's like a meme going around in America of like Polish people eating cats, is this racist against white people? Not really. Like you have people that are mistaken about the identity, thinking this is like of a specific nationality, like AKA bigoted against the nationality.
I mean,
but it doesn't necessarily underlie a specific bigotry against the race that Polish people are a part of. So actually, maybe not. Maybe it's
what
not
about my
racist.
statement? White American teen males are shooting up schools. They're like I said they were terrorists. Do you think that's like bigoted or racist towards white people? And if said by like
I mean, hold on.
said by a politician could have a large impact on how we treat teen whites in America. So blah, 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 like
Look, I don't. You can make that statement. I don't.
Well, I'm
I think
asking
that
you.
I think by the way,
statement.
I understand. Give me a
Yeah.
second. Jesus. I think there is some fact issues, by the way, with that statement as of late. But we can dig into the data later. If you're saying, well, white teens do this, I think that could maybe be racist. Sure.
So I mean,
Just to be
clear, like if you were to
In
say
the
like black men are rapists, like that would be potentially a racist statement. But if you were
or
to
like
say
Haitians, or like
but
the
if you were- but if
immigrants
you
are
were-
eating cats and dogs.
yeah, whoa, but that immigrants is that race? That's the question.
I mean,
right?
sure,
the generalization based on
I
race,
know.
or is a generalization based on nationality? And just to be clear, if you guys want to say, well, it's bigoted based on our nationality, we can have that conversation.
Well, no.
If you guys,
the average person-
no. What it is you guys are getting hung up on the clarification because you want to call it racist because racist is a
I
very
don't give a fuck
powerful
what you
word.
call it.
Racist is a very powerful word, and you like to use it. And it's very easy to use, and it's very easy to demonize people. You can attribute racism to.
Why are you guys so afraid of using these words? Actually, now that because okay,
Not afraid. If it fits, it fits.
okay, I'm gonna pick a different word, and I just want to know if one applies to the other. Okay, so like Hamas, they did terrorism, right? They went in. They did. Is what Israel did with the beepers? Is that not terrorism?
No, it's
Why not
counterterrorism
Oh, okay, cool.
because they
Yeah, I
targeted
love
a
it.
terrorist group. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
But what about the
Hamas targeted babies in their cribs, so that's
Yeah.
not.
They didn't. They didn't
counterterrorism.
target babies in their cribs, so that's a lie.
3 kids died, and
Yeah.
the whole country.
Were they
the whole-
targeted?
The, civil, the
They didn't tar-
civilians
no,
of
they- no,
the
they didn't
civilians
target
of the
babies.
country.
No, they
Oh,
didn't.
my family's
That's
over
not the
there.
information I've received.
I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't.
I know,
receive
you
that
wouldn't have
information.
received-
The information I received is they went to a music festival where people there were not part of the IDF,
That's
and
fine.
they shot them and they killed them.
Were those babies? Or sorry? Oh, no.
No. And then there was reports. I'll fact check them right now. Maybe I'm pulling another JD Vance, but there was reports of them going into houses, in Israeli houses, and shooting them up, and yes, killing babies.
Yeah,
And
they
putting
were
them in
reports.
ovens
Yeah,
and
yeah,
beheading
and-
them.
and Joe Biden-
Not putting them in ovens.
I-
But there were reports of.
Joe Biden talked about like
I
40
think those are fake, right?
40 beheaded
So,
babies.
hold on,
That
wait,
wasn't
wait.
true. But I mean,
So-
I don't blame you.
That was fake. Whoa, that
No,
was. Did that turn out to be untrue?
And I
Yeah.
was just going to say I wasn't going to blame
But,
you.
but, but why do you gotta focus so much on whether or not that specific claim is true? Shouldn't we just be condemning Hamas? Shouldn't we just like? Why are you so afraid to condemn Hamas? Why are we like getting into the weeds about
do
what's
condemn
actually
it.
true or not? Why are we
I have no
focusing on whether or not the
problem.
specific claim is true? Shouldn't we focus on the
not
bigger
con-
problem of
who's not
terrorism?
con-
Shouldn't we focus on the bigger
Who's not
systemic
condemning
problem of Hamas? Oh my God!
If you
hold
want, if you want to do that, but you actually don't want to do it, you don't actually fucking care. Let's be real, right? I would love to talk about the larger issue between Israel and Gaza. Or the Palestinians. I'd love to do that. I could spend all night talking about that.
You
Sure,
should be free
not a
to
problem.
criticize a fake statement about 40 babies being beheaded without me saying, "Well, why you're pulling away from
I
the
was
overall
saying the
narrative of
opposite.
Hamas
I
being
was
bad."
saying, no, I said the opposite. I said, hey, if you had heard that, that's because President Biden said that, and I wouldn't blame you if that's what you had believed. That's what I said just now. I wouldn't blame you if you had heard that, because that's the got that from the goddamn president of the United States.
But it was fake, and you should be perfectly clear to criticize Biden me or yes, you did criticize Biden for saying that. But what if Biden responded to you in the exact same way you responded to me, which is, well, you seems like you're so hyper focused on like being technically right on this one fact, but they did kill people, right? And they did do this, and we should focus overall on like Hamas
They
bad.
did do that.
That's more.
That's literally what they
did.
did.
I do that?
No,
did
I
I do? Of course not, because I am interested in having a fact-based conversation. And if somebody was to say 40 babies were beheaded and that's a false statement, I would want people to criticize that. I would want people to speak up and say that's actually incorrect. And here's why it's incorrect. And here's a source why it's incorrect. Because I actually want my view of reality to be as accurate as possible. I'm not, I'm not concerned with the optics of these systems and these narratives as much as you guys are. I want to have a conversation about what actually is.
Let's the beaten lactoid up enough for today. I'll come back next week on that one. But let's move on to the topic.
And he assembled these white people too. So.
He assembled these white people, and they betrayed
traitors.
But so everyone, we're gonna move on. But thanks for 1 second. I love my friend Lactoid. I have to say this. Because this was a guy particularly vitriolic. And for the second week in a row. Now, clearly, I am passionate, right? This isn't the most passionate I've been, that I disagree with. But I clearly I am passionate about these type of issues. I don't think Lactoid is a bad person. Even if I stand by the things that I've said today, but even doing that, I don't believe that Lactoid is some great evil or anything. I think he's imperfect like all the rest of us, right?
Just a
I'm
lawyer.
imperfect in different ways.
Just a lawyer, that's all it is.
It's the biggest insult you could ever give me. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But like I just want to say this, that like I consider Lactoid a friend. I even tell Lactoid things. I don't tell other people, right? Because that's how close I feel to my friend Lactoid. So I love my friend, and there's just a disagreement, a big disagreement that we have between us, but we'll endeavor to continue working out. So, and I'm also I know because Lactoid's not a baby, but like I'm still gonna say this anyway. If I'm
not a baby. You don't have to apologize or anything like that.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll leave it there.
I wasn't going to apologize.
It was good. It was good sparring.
You're a good guy.
Let's continue on to our next segment. Got this fucking ad break right in the middle where I was gonna shill. Just gonna shill. Let's wait for 30 seconds and then I'm gonna shill to the audience. We'll move on. What we're gonna say. Let's make a joke about Ghosty and her massive mansion. All right. So Ghosty, what are the consequences? So here's what I've imagined. Right? I think Ghosty, like, goes through her mansion with her finger on her furniture, right? She's just sliding her finger on her furniture. And if she detects a bit of dust,
No more Counter-Strike for the boyfriend.
oh boy. All right. Like there will be consequences to pay. Right? She gathers all the maids, all the butlers in her room, comes in ready for punishment. Is what
I
it
can't
is.
release all my secrets. I've already released too many.
It's like, do you like release people into like your estate like blind?
Here, let's see. Maybe you can see my hermit crab tank. Oh, there it is.
No,
You have a whole
actually really do
ecosystem
have
in
a
your
hermit crab
house?
tank. I was actually sure.
She has a whole ecosystem in her house.
A whole
Yeah, there it
ecosystem.
is.
A whole ecosystem.
We got 4 of them.
Oh, nice.
Cute.
Thank
And I'm
you.
sure the hermit crabs have butlers too and maids.
Oh, of course.
They have different shells.
Mhm.
All right, so the ad breaks over. Hey guys, thanks for being here. If you appreciate
Huntsman.
all that, you got something out of it. Consider supporting the channel by following the channel or subscribing to the channel if you're on YouTube land. We will read your super chats. I've been keeping track of them. All right, Corey hasn't stopped me. He hasn't foiled me today. So consider supporting the channel in any way you can. It is still September. It's still September. So consider helping us out. Like your money goes farther during September. I didn't go to TwitchCon. I stayed here for you, right? TwitchCon would have gotten away of all this. If you like the fact that we never missed a Monday here, right? This was according to Twitch, my what was it?
Partner anniversary.
Yeah, partner anniversary. Partner anniversary. Thank you for that. Thought it was early in the month. Whatever. But a partner anniversary. Like, and we haven't missed a Reverie in all these years. If you can appreciate that, please support the channel. Sub to the channel, give bits or give subs. Use your Amazon Prime says Prime Gaming if you've got one free sub per month. Here it does a lot free for you, but does a lot for us. So consider helping out the channel any way you can. You'll get our ad-free viewing and you'll get our emotes. So subs to the channel, give bits or give subs. Okay. Let's go to the topic of tonight. According to 2 lawsuits, Alabama fast food chains such as McDonald's are staffing its restaurants with prison inmates. The inmates' pay is heavily garnished by the state, so they become a revenue stream. If inmates refuse to work, they can be severely punished. All of this provides the restaurants with a highly exploitable and disposable pool of workers. Are you in favor of the system? Some inmates would value the opportunity to work. So is this a good idea? Or should employers be regulated to increase wages and improve conditions to attract normal workers? So yeah, it's like I said, in Alabama, this is apparently becoming an increasingly common practice. Alabama is saying, at least the restaurateurs are saying, that they're having trouble filling jobs there. That, unincarcerated civilians aren't like banging down their doors. And the solution that they found is, yes, getting inmates to come in and do it. I don't know if the inmates have like a choice as to like, because like for inmate jobs, oftentimes there's like a choice as to which jobs you can do. The way this article painted it, it sounds like it's not a choice that you maybe get signed up. It's unclear. But in any case, it seems like you can't quit. That like you're gonna go and you're kind of stuck doing this, and there'd be punishments if you don't want to go flip burgers, right? So it sounds a bit problematic, but I want to see what all these other kind people think. Sorry if you like to it.
Yeah, I'm a fan. So the 13th Amendment is one of the best amendments. It says that you can't have slaves. Slavery is bad. With one exception, punishment for a crime. You can be forced to work if it's for punishment of a crime, which I think is great for multiple reasons. Firstly, and most importantly, it provides a way to minimize the expense of incarcerating these people, and potentially provides a way to provide restitution to the victims of the crime. But The best thing about this position is that the empirics are on my side. There has been research done into making prisoners work and what the effects are, and the effects are generally positive. We have less recidivism and higher post-release employment. And there's very little, if any, negatives that I've been able to find empirically. So the effects of this are just across the board, from what we know, all the data that we have currently, it's just good, right? Like you're offsetting the cost of imprisonment, and you're providing potential restitution to the victims. You are alleviating labor supply issues, which, by the way, is one of the biggest arguments for immigration. And so, that can alleviate the labor supply issues in certain states. You are helping the prisoners themselves reform by lowering their recidivism rate and getting them better employment after they get released. And there appears to be a correlation with less violence in prisons as well, probably because when you keep people busy, they're less likely to engage in other forms of maladaptive behavior, right? Boredom is the root cause of all evil. So overall, the empirics on this are very good. I think a lot of people oppose it just because they are concerned with the concept of, well, it's kind of slavery, right? We're kind of making these people work. And that's kind of like, there's some kind of principle against that. But I think it's fair to say that this kind of forced labor is fundamentally different than the kind of slavery that existed in the 1800s, right? And this is really for not only the society's best interest, but it's also in the best interest of the prisoners themselves empirically. So overall, I think this is good. I think the 13th Amendment allows for it. And there's been a couple states that have been passing laws against it, but it appears that there's being some legal challenges on standing here. We'll see where those go. I'm generally opposed to laws limiting the practice.
Thank you. Ali.
Yeah, really, my biggest issue with this is going to be certainty of like those who we put in jail. Like, I don't know if every person that we put in jail is, was guilty. So proof of guilt and certainty of the guilt is like my only issue. But if we have that, I don't have an issue with putting inmates, especially if with like malicious crimes. Put them to work. Fuck it. Who cares? I mean, we're paying for them to be in jail if we're gonna keep them around. But I don't want them working at McDonald's. I don't want McDonald's to be the one who benefits off of this. If you're going to have these people do it, have them fucking fix the roads. Have them do the shit that put our tax dollars into better use. If we're going to have tax dollars anyways, put them into better use. Farming, right? If you like let's start with the local shit first. Start with local businesses who are in need. Maybe not tackle large conglomerate businesses who only stand to like largely benefit off of this. Because at the end of the day, like, prison is supposed to be reform and it's supposed to help. I do think giving people a job to do is beneficial. So if someone's serving a 5-year term, they go there working in construction, they're essentially training for 5 years,